Wave, Dustin Pedroia, you're on Baseball Tonight. How you doing? Red Sox and Cubs coming up top of the hour, 8 o'clock Eastern on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. The 1918 World Series rematch. Back then, it was Boston without David Ortiz beating the Cubs in 6 games to win the World Series. Tonight, it's Starlin Castro and company hosting the Red Sox. Cubs and Red Sox, 8 o'clock Eastern. First, it's the full hour of Baseball Tonight. Baseball Tonight presented by Chevrolet. Welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthume, John Kruk along the way. Let's get you caught up on what's happening. Crucky, the Yankees have won 9 in a row and 19 of 23.
Well, I think, no disrespect to Texas, the Dodgers, and others, but I think right now we're seeing why they're the best team in baseball, in my opinion.
Robinson Cano, the home run. They sweep the Nats in D.C. Cano 2 for 3. The homer is 12th of the year. Ivan Nova wins his 9th. Crucky, your former Phillies are 4-12 in June.
That stinks.
That's
and this
good.
team's not very good, and it doesn't look like it's going to get any better. They're hoping injuries, guys come back, but I mean, this is pretty ugly right now.
Obi Rasmus 3 for 4. He's got 9 RBIs in 7 games. The Orioles have won 7 of 8. Wei-Yin Chen pitches a gem in Atlanta. They're hanging around.
Kind of like Bruce Chen, but with a little better fastball. Great deception on his pitches, but he can still get it up there at 90 on occasion.
Baltimore, behind Wei-Yin Chen, who does a terrific job, wins 2-0 in Atlanta. They are neck and neck with the Rays right now, just behind the Yankees in the AL East. Tampa Bay is 5-1 versus their sort of interleague rival, the Miami Marlins this year. B.J. Upton a home run off Josh Johnson.
He got to that one quick, and that's something that B.J. Upton, if he can be more consistent with that, he's going to help the Rays stay in this race.
His first home run since May 22nd, his 5th career leadoff homer. Royals and Cardinals, they're still going at Busch Stadium. John Kruk named that Molina.
Yadier.
Thanks for playing America's favorite game. We're top 15 now.
I don't know how to say clutch in Spanish, but that's him.
It's the Royals and the Cardinals. Hey there, welcome to the broadcast. Baseball Tonight with you for the full hour. Steve Berthume, John Kruk along the way, leading you up until the top of the hour when it's ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, the Red Sox and the Cubs. Speaking of the Cubs, they have the fewest wins in the major leagues right now. It's been a long season and getting longer here. Chicago checking in today at, 22-43. Alfonso Soriano was booed after not running out a line drive yesterday. They are 16 back in the NL Central. And at some point here, Buster Olney, they may begin to think about selling off some pieces. Here's Buster from Wrigley Field.
You're exactly right, Steve. The Cubs are expected to be maybe the most active team in baseball before the July 31st trade deadline. Maybe the first guy to be traded, Ryan Dempster. A source tells me he could be moved sometime in the next 10 to 14 days. Now, keep in mind that the Cubs' modus operandi right now is to get as much young talent for their organization as possible. That's why they're going to be willing to eat a lot of the $8 million that's still owed to Dempster for the rest of the year. One of the teams they're talking to, the Los Angeles Dodgers. Matt Garza also may be moved, but that'll probably happen closer to the July 31st trade deadline when there are more teams involved, when there's more desperation involved, when the Cubs might have more leverage. And on Monday, catcher Giovanni Soto is expected to be activated. He's missed the last month after having knee surgery. If he plays well, he could be trade bait as well, Steve.
Buster, thanks very much. We'll check back with you from Wrigley Field later in this hour. If the Cubs are going to be competitive, they certainly have the payroll flexibility to make that happen. Starting in 2013, the Cubs, this is kind of remarkable here and certainly something new in Chicago, they have less than $40 million committed to the payroll, with that number dropping to under $22 million in 2014. They've been weighted down by these big, long, heavy contracts, and now those things are sort of starting to fray away here. The Cubs owe $19 million of the $35 million for 2013 to one player. That's Alfonso Soriano. He accounts for 55%. Crucky, at some point they're going to have to decide here. This year, who are they going to move and who are they going to keep? And down the road, around whom are they going to build?
Yeah, and Starlin Castro, everything points to him that they could build around him. But the problem with Starlin Castro is throughout his young career, he's had bouts of inconsistency with his mind. He loses concentration a lot. He forgets outs, and he's done some things on a baseball field. But he's still very young, and he is so immensely talented. But to me, if I'm a Cubs player right now, if I'm Campana, if I'm LaHair, if I'm Darwin Barney, and even Giovanni Soto when he comes back, this is a tryout camp for me. You know they're going to trade these guys. You know they're going to trade their veterans. They're going to get a bunch of young players. Those young players eventually are going to want to take the place of the young players that are there there now. If I'm a guy, if I'm these young players, if I'm the Cubs, I'm doing everything. I'm forgetting what our record is. I'm forgetting about the fact that our team is awful. We're going to be awful for the rest of the year. But I'm going out and trying to prove to Theo Epstein and everyone in that organization, I am a major league ready player. You can count on me for next year. So when my position comes up and you need to look for someone, you don't need to look any further than me. And if these guys don't take the bull by the horns, it's their fault because they will be replaced by someone down the road within a year or two.
Starlin Castro is an immensely talented young player. Is the sample size big enough to make that decision on him yet?
Probably not, but that's the thing. That's the situation they're in. They have to make that decision soon. You know, you hear rumors that, you know, maybe he could be trade bait, and teams would love to have a shortstop with those abilities. If he was on a veteran team, you can overlook some of the things that he does on a baseball field, but he's not on a veteran team. He's on a young team who's struggling, and everything he does in that city gets magnified because he's not that guy that takes the bull by the horns and says, you know what, I'll lead this team. I'll be that guy. He's not that guy yet.
All right, ahead of the Brewers in the National League Central, you'll find the Milwaukee Brewers. They're playing at Target Field this weekend against the Minnesota Twins, looking for the sweep in Minnesota for the first time in 16 years. Here's Ricky Weeks off Nick Blackburn. A lot of room out there, and Denard Span can't get there. It's a triple for Weeks, so Milwaukee has tying run on third here in the top of the second. Pardon me, they're already up 1-0. Next up, Cody Ransom, Trevor Plouffe. Joe Mauer gets the tag, but Mauer may be hurt here. In fact, Mauer's had to leave with a bruised quad.
Yeah, Ricky got in there a little, I mean, nothing dirty. I mean, just a slide. He got into his right leg right there, the brace leg for Joe Mauer, and kind of just got him in the thigh a little bit. That happens.
All right, so Mauer's still in there to this point. In the seventh, singles to center off Zach Greinke. They'll wait at Denard Span, and that ties it at 4, and then Mauer leaves the game after that play. Still tied in the 12th. Minnesota bases loaded here. A chance to get the walk-off. Ryan Doumit. Jose Veras is in there. Doumit. Corey Hart has it, but where's Veras? He's hurt and has to come out. They're still playing. We have a game right now in the 14th and a game in the 15th inning. Kayak.com, one and done walk-off moment. Here's a game that just ended. D. Gordon's second career walk-off hit. The Dodgers come back after Addison Reed had blown the save. They beat the White Sox 2-1.
Well, with Matt Kemp out, got to have him.
Here's what's coming up in this hour of baseball tonight. Joey Votto and the Reds stay red hot. Votto's numbers over the last 25 games are absolutely insane. The New York Yankees, could they sweep the Nationals? These guys are rolling 19 of their last 23 and 9 in a row. They may be ready to take the lead here and never look back. And more from Wrigley Field. Buster only checks back in with us. The latest on the Boston Red Sox and where they stand here as they get ready to play this series finale. They are fired up here on the north side. Cubs fans filing into Wrigley Field. Baseball tonight coming up the rest of this hour. Then it's the Red Sox and Cubs, 8 o'clock Eastern time on Sunday Night Baseball. We're back after this from Chicago.
Almost every day I walk into the office and somebody asks me a question about the Volt. What really blows them away is when I tell them I almost never go to the gas station, despite the fact that they see me driving to work every day. I fill the Volt up maybe once every couple of months. And that feels absolutely wonderful. I'm hardly using gas, but it's there when I need it. Anybody that thinks that this car doesn't have solid performance hasn't driven it. There's no other car like this on the road.
Niagara Falls, the ultimate torture test for a deck. The ultimate protection, Thompson's Water Seal. Chosen to protect the most water-drenched decks in America. The decks at Niagara Falls. Thompson's Water Seal. The most powerful protection against water damage, guaranteed.
The radical new MacBook Pro with Retina display. Innovation in every dimension.
This summer, our greatest battle will be fought between the living and the dead. Friday.
Does State Farm let me bundle auto, home, and life to save money?
Sure. We practically invented bundling, and it all stays with State Farm.
So my policies don't go to some bundling center that ships them off to some B-grade bundle factory? If anything happens, I'm dealing with you and not some bungling, bustling bundle builders.
Who have you been working with?
A policy with us stays with us. Bundle and save with State Farm.
Baseball tonight is presented by Chevrolet, official vehicle of Major League Baseball, and proud to support baseball in communities across the country. Baseball tonight with you until the top of the hour, 8 o'clock Eastern. Then it's Dale Swaim and his Chicago Cubs hosting the Boston Red Sox on ESPN's Sunday Night Baseball here on Father's Day.
The connection between father and son throughout the game of baseball is one that is played out in every Little League or Major League ballpark across the country.
My dad was my #1 fan, my #1 coach growing up. Still, my best friend today.
When I put that big league uniform on, I do it for not just for myself, but for him as well. The name on the back of the jersey was given to me by him.
Kind of a day you want to show off for Dad and give back to him a little bit because you know how much he sacrificed.
Call your dad up, make sure you wish him a happy Father's Day and try to win him the ball game.
Welcome back to baseball tonight. You'll note John and I wearing these light blue patches. All of the players you see in today's Major League highlights wearing these light blue wristbands as baseball continues its terrific efforts to raise awareness and research for prostate cancer. This is Father's Day, a noteworthy day for fathers all over the country, including our own Tim Kirkchin.
No sport connects a father to his son more than baseball. No father or son ever forgets the first game of catch in the backyard, the first glove they broke in together, or the first big league game they ever attended. Field of Dreams was all about baseball, a father and a son. And so is Major League Baseball. 33 sons of former major leaguers have played in the big leagues this season, including brothers Jerry Jr. and Scott Hairston, sons of Jerry Hairston Sr. The Dodgers have played 6 sons of former major leaguers, tying the 2000 Indians for the most in one season. The most illustrious father-son combination is Bobby and Barry Bonds, who combined for 1,094 home runs and 975 stolen bases. But they didn't do what Darrell Ward and his father, Gary Ward, did, each hit for the cycle. Tim Raines and Tim Jr. played in the same game. And in 1989, Ken Griffey Sr. and Ken Griffey Jr. completed the all-time father-son highlight. They hit back-to-back home runs. In the June draft, 23 sons of former major leaguers were selected, including sons of Major League managers Mike Matheny, Ron Renneke, Kirk Gibson, and Dale Swaim, as well as a son of Cal Ripken, Steve Garvey, and ESPN's own Orel Hershiser. And you can bet, if any of those sons get to the major leagues, the first call they'll make will be to their father.
John Kruk has been a dad for a while now, but now you're a softball dad and you're a T-ball dad, right?
Softball, baseball, soccer, basketball, gymnastics, love it all. There's no greater feeling. I know nothing about gymnastics. I know zero
Hard to
about
believe.
Soccer. But just to go and watch my kids participate, and my daughter in gymnastics, my son in soccer, knowing I have no idea what they're doing out there, it's just a great thrill to watch how much they enjoy it and how much they love it. And it's not like Dad pushing them. I don't push them to nothing. My son decided this year, I don't want to play baseball, no baseball. This year he's going to play, he said, because he just wants to.
That's okay?
Absolutely, no issue. He's active. Basketball, soccer, he's very intelligent. I mean, like I say, I was pushed into sports kind of a little bit, we all played sports, my brothers and I, but, I don't want to be one of those fathers that, makes my son do anything he doesn't want to do. If he's happy playing sports, he's going to play. If not, he's a smart kid and he's a good kid. That's all that matters.
Well, Prince Fielder's father, of course, played a little baseball in Detroit. That was Cecil Fielder. Prince and the Tigers taking on the Rockies at Comerica Park today on this Father's Day. Bottom 3, and here's Prince. He's down 0-2 here, and he's battling against Jeremy Guthrie. Although he's chasing pitches well outside the zone, Kruk. He's upstairs and downstairs, and then he'll inside and out as well. Guthrie's working all 4 spots.
Yeah, I mean, this is when Jeremy Guthrie has to think to himself, okay, I've thrown 3 of the best pitches I can make on a man, and he's fouled all of them off. This might not end good for me.
Finally, he just lines one to right center. It scores a run. It's an RBI double for Prince, and it's 2-0 Tigers.
Sometimes when the hitter gets 0-2, he still has the advantage.
With 2 on, 2 out, top of the 4th, we have the 53-minute Rain delay, some weather moving through the Midwest today. We saw delays at a couple of places. Max Scherzer back out there after the 53-minute wait. Chris Nelson, fielder's choice, that ends the inning. Top 5. Here's Max Scherzer again. 8 scoreless, 12 strikeouts, no walks. Max Scherzer. And if he comes around like Pfister did yesterday, then Porcello, look out Detroit.
They're back, and that's what they need. They need this consistent starting pitching because the offense will score. We know that, but the pitching is what's going to keep them from going deep into the season and the postseason.
7 hits and 8 scoreless, 12 Ks. The Tigers, they have now won 7 of 10. Colorado has lost 10 of its last 11. Adrian Gonzalez has been slumping this year. Only 261 and 5 home runs here as we check it on Father's Day. Will he be in the lineup tonight for the Red Sox? We'll find out coming up top of the hour at Wrigley Field. Cubs and Red Sox coming up on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. John Kruk and I back with more baseball tonight after this.
Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. Starlin Castro and Alfonso Soriano lead the Cubbies against Dustin Pedroia, Big Papi, and the Red Sox. Sunday Night Baseball. Red Sox Cubs at 8 tonight on ESPN.
Live my life on fast forward, feet up on that dashboard, hands up off that steering wheel. Why I gotta be so bad for? I ain't take no class for it. Nickname used to be Fast Pause. Let's go.
X Games Los Angeles starts June 28th on ESPN2, presented by America's Navy.
America's Navy, a global force for good.
Punch Top can. Crack it, punch it for a smoother pour. However you punch it, it's Miller time.
Euro 2012. Everything is on the line in the Group C finale. Croatia takes on Spain for the top spot, and Italy needs a win against Ireland. The final matches from Group C tomorrow at 2:30 on ESPN and ESPN2.
So I followed her to Hackensack.
Hackensack? Or Akin-Kashaki. That's an old Lenape Indian word. It means place of sharp ground. Go on, please.
Do what you do with wheat thins.
You didn't know that?
In new zesty salsa.
That's why I'm here.
It was a shocking twist.
What is he doing here? The Big Show is fired by Mr. Laurinaitis.
That stunned the WWE Universe.
Oh, no! Big Show just knocked out Cena!
Now, after joining forces with WWE executive John Laurinaitis, the Big Show collides with John Cena inside an unforgiving steel cage. WWE No Way Out, live this Sunday on DirecTV pay-per-view.
What moves me? Healthy joints and keeping my 5K pace. That's why I take Move Free. It helps my body maintain and repair up to 38% more cartilage. Maybe I should try for 10K. Healthy joints, Move Free.
Welcome back to Baseball Tonight, presented by Chevrolet. Coming up Monday night, they're calling it the Big Show, the Braves and the Yankees from Yankee Stadium, 7 o'clock Eastern Time, part of the AL-NL Showdown. You can watch on ESPN, ESPN3, or use the Watch ESPN app. Then Wednesday night, it's the Cardinals and Tigers from Detroit on ESPN2, ESPN3. and the ESPN. Watch ESPN app. Kayak.com, one and done walk-off moment. Here's how they finish up at Safeco Field, Seattle. The Mariners and the Giants. 1-1, bottom 9. Justin Smoke, his first career walk-off hit. Melky's throw hits Kawasaki in the back.
That would have been a great throw. Melky made a great throw, just happened to hit the runner, no chance.
Bobby V's Boston Red Sox checking in 32-33, 8 back in the American League East. Buster Olney now with more on the Red Sox from Wrigley Field. Hey, Buster.
Hey, Steve, despite the fact they're under 500 and they've had all these problems, as they woke up today, they were just 4 games out of the wild card race, and they ranked second in the American League in runs scored. And over the next month, they could be getting 3 outfielders back. Carl Crawford, their left fielder, told me that he thinks he could go out on a minor league rehabilitation assignment any day. Bobby Valentine said a few minutes ago that Jacoby Ellsbury, their center fielder, who finished second in the MVP voting last year, is really close to coming back. And Cody Ross could be back in the Red Sox lineup on Tuesday. Adrian Gonzalez on base percentage is about 100 points lower than it was last year. Over his last 18 games, he's hit just 1 home run. But I asked him yesterday if he feels like he's expanded his strike zone lately. He said, no, not at all. He really feels like that. He just needs to get his swing back to where it was with his hands on top of the ball. I asked him what could change it. He said 1 good swing. He's not in the Red Sox lineup tonight, Steve.
Buster, thanks very much. Let's check the Red Sox lineup, Crocky. Here, you've mentioned all the moving pieces here. We've got Carl Crawford, who may be back soon. Ellsbury may be back soon. Cody Ross is rehabbing in Pawtucket. You've got all kinds of guys. Kalish is back up in center field tonight. A lot of moving pieces here for Bobby V.
Yeah, and that's the thing. When these guys come back, there are going to be some interesting moves that the organization has to make also with some of these players. But, when you look at this lineup right now, it's not a great offensive lineup. Yes, they do score runs. But the issue you have with the Boston Red Sox right now, when everyone comes back, is they put a great group of players together, but it's not a great team. And by that I mean all the stuff that happened in September, guys spreading rumors or talking, outside of the clubhouse about what goes on in that clubhouse. Right. Those things fracture relationships. And look, I was
Can those not be mended at this point?
Well, they haven't been yet, apparently, because they're not playing well. But they're really, when you talk to people within the organization and other people around baseball, they don't have that one guy who will stand up and get in anyone's face in that clubhouse, so we're told, that'll get someone and say, look, this is not the way it's done. We do it differently here. Quietly, privately, stay out of the paper, stay out of the media, stay out of everything. This is how we do it. If the guy's not preparing the right way, this is not the way it's done. This is not acceptable. But it's a great group of individuals, but as far as a team unit right now, it's very unsuccessful because they don't have that one guy that'll stand up and be accounted for and say, this is the way it's going to be done, and we're going to do it now.
All right, well, the Angels, they don't need that guy. The Angels, after that sluggish start, they've been rolling, and they're getting healthier now. Jared Weaver, they think, may be back soon for L.A. of Anaheim. He reported to the Angels clubhouse yesterday without any pain from a simulated game on Friday. If he gets a scheduled bullpen session today in similar comfort, pain-free that is, the Angels ace could be back in the rotation this week. And how about that? 6-1, 2-6-1. They may be getting him back. He's been on the DL since suffering a lower back strain on May 28th. Here are the Angels and the Diamondbacks. Albert Pujols not fearing the red beard. Ian Kennedy, that's his 10th. 1-0 Angels. Looks like Pujols is
slowly creeping back up to 30 and 100 and something, isn't he?
Bottom 7, Eric Ibar. Justin Upton's out there. This one, watch this, from the chalk to the stands. Ian Kennedy, look at the reaction, ground rule double. So later in the inning with Ibar at third now after that play. Here's Peter Borges. Ibar, Crocky's all hung up.
Yeah, that's that old contact play with a runner on third base and 1 out. I've never been a big fan of it, but if it's a slow hit ball, maybe take a chance. But I mean, you hit a bullet at someone.
It seems like the guy's always a dead duck.
No chance unless they make a bad throw.
What do you think of Mike Trout?
I think Mike Trout is the best rookie in baseball.
Better than Bryce Harper.
Well, tool-wise, right now he's a little more polished than Bryce, but I think Bryce is going to get there real quick.
2 on, 2 out. Upton, Pujols.
Glove. Look at that. The glove is on the camera. It hits the glove, bounces off the glove. The camera pushes it up in the air, and he makes a play. Didn't touch the camera, though.
Garrett Richards.
All glove.
8 innings, 4 hits. Angels win 2-0. Astros and Rangers. Colby Lewis and company trying to just continue their domination of Houston. They now won 19 of 24 against the Astros because they play for the boot there. The silver boot.
Yeah, well, you got to have boots.
Yeah, sure. Lewis had 10 Ks and 7 with only 1 earned. They're loaded in the 6th. Ian Kinsler.
Ugh.
Yep, 3-1 Texas. Who do you think is the better team in the AL West?
It's going to be tight down. You know, the thing about Texas is you think, you know, they lose a pitcher, they just bring more guys up to throw 97. Throws 100 in that organization. I guess Nolan, you know, makes them. He commands them to throw 100.
2 batters later on the corners, Michael Young, Elvis Andrews rounds third. 2-run score, 5-1. Andrews was holding, then Brian Bogusevic kind of sort of a less than enthusiastic relay. And Andrews, who was holding, is going to come on in.
And that's the thing. When you're not a very good team, which Houston is not, you've got to play 100% at all times. You got to.
Houston has lost 16 of its last 21 overall.
Back there on the left.
Former Red Sox GM, now Cubs president, Theo Epstein, watching the Cubs and Red Sox take batting practice. You'll see the Cubbies and Red Sox from Wrigley Field, so grab a hot dog here on Father's Day. Sunday Night Baseball coming up at about
down the line, rooftop seating. Sit there.
Nice.
The Open Championship, July 19th through the 22nd on ESPN.
For more than 60 years, Wrangler has been making jeans more comfortable. Fine by me.
Wrangler jeans give you comfort where you want it. They don't cut and bind like most jeans.
Hey, don't wear Wranglers because of me. Wear them because of you.
U-shape. It fits around you. It gives you more room where you need it. That's why Wranglers fit so good. Room where you need it, comfort where it counts.
It's all about you.
Man, these jeans feel good.
Wrangler.
Real, comfortable jeans.
Not bad, Dale.
Thank you. Appreciate it. You too.
I'm opening right now. Hold on. Here it is.
Can I get one?
I don't want you sweating during the show.
You know how I sweat.
Well, you got to keep the papers and the pens dry. That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah, well, all my notes sure do. Nice, huh?
It's a good look.
It is.
Nice job on Major League Baseball today.
Yes.
Cancer research and awareness.
Baseball, hot dogs, apple pie, and Chevrolet. Baseball, hot dogs, apple pie, and Chevrolet.
They go together, and they go all USA.
Baseball, hot dogs, apple pie, and Chevrolet.
From small towns to big leagues, Chevy runs deep. It's more than laundry time. It's more than snack time. It's more than breakfast time or quiet time. It's lifetime. Kenmore is in the lives of over 100 million Americans, designed and inspired to keep life running the way it should. It's why we put so much into every appliance we make. We put more in, so you get more out. Kenmore.
It's time to completely upgrade your shaving experience with the Philips Norelco SensaTouch, a shaver so technologically advanced you can use it dry or wet with foam or gel for less irritation guaranteed. The Philips Norelco SensaTouch. A blade to the face? No thanks. Go with the real pro, Philips Norelco. Gear up with special offers on Facebook.
About 30 minutes from now, you'll see Alfonso Soriano and the Cubs host the Red Sox on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. This is a pretty good, and that's cool from the cave.
It is. I tell you what, when I did best seat in the house, I was down the line rooftop seating right behind the right field foul pole. Phenomenal.
Oh yeah, get an old style, put your feet up on Father's Day. Nice.
Couches up there, the whole deal.
Father's Day obviously means the world to me, and as my career has gone, it's meant different things.
My father, he brought me to the game. He taught me at a very young age to compete.
He's the reason that I'm here, and I owe just about all of it to him.
It's a day for some remembrance, to honor, to respect.
To be able to go out and play for him and see the excitement that he has on his face, to be able to have that opportunity to share with him means the world.
Reds and Mets Father's Day at Citi Field, Johnny Cueto, 4-0, the ERA 1.37 in day games this year, and he had 8 strikeouts.
Dusty might want to set him up to push him back so he can pitch day games.
You think the Reds are going to win that division?
Yes.
Close or by?
It'll be close. I still think St. Louis is going to be okay. Pittsburgh, you know, depending on what they can do, if they can do anything at the trade deadline. But
Valdez up the middle. Andres Torres comes up firing. Zach Cozart is safe. That tied it. They walked Votto. And here's that dude BP. Valdez will score. Throw to third from Duda gets away. Votto can come in 2 and it's 3-1 Cincinnati.
Joey Votto's got to be getting tired. He just runs around the bases all day, doesn't he?
Sometimes he jogs. That helps.
Oh.
Bottom 6. Look at that dude BP. 5-holing himself for the 4-6-3.
That's absolute insanery.
Insanery. I like that. Reds have won a season-high 6 in a row. They sweep the Mets, who've lost 4 straight at home. 3-1 is the final from Citi Field. A wild one today at Busch Stadium, Royals and Cardinals. There you see the blue wristband on the arm of Matt Holliday off Luis Mendoza. That's his 12th. It's 1-1. Holliday's really starting to heat up here. Had a 4-hit game the other day. Wait, will go back-to-back. Alan Craig, 2-1 St. Louis.
And this is what I mean about St. Louis. You know, if Craig get hot, Freeze can get hot. Molina's really clutch. But this is the issue right here.
Jason Mott, 2 outs in the 9th. Country breakfast. Pinch hit home run ties it with 2 outs in the 9th.
I broke the guy's arm. The forearm smashing.
Top 14. Yuniesky Betancourt. Down the left field line. Alex Gordon comes in all the way from first. 3-2 Kansas City. He can't dig it out there quite in time, so a big hit there by Yuniesky Betancourt. Bottom 14, first and third, Tyler Green. Craig is at third, and he doesn't tag up. What happened? Dude, you got to get back and tag.
I think he forgot the outs. He forgot the outs.
Oh, and you can see Tyler Green going up the first base line.
That's not a happy camper.
That would have tied it. Thinks he's got the sack.
But Mr. Clutch.
Yadier Molina, 3-3. Let's keep playing here. We'll go to the 15th inning now. And it's a man who had one of the big hits earlier, Yuniesky Betancourt.
Oh.
Yeah, is right. 5-3, Royals take the lead. Kansas City, Betancourt on a 2-for-7 day gets the big hits for Kansas City. They win at Busch 5-3. Pirates, Indians. Rough day for Asdrubal Cabrera. Top 4 now. It's 2-0 Tribe, Casey McGee. This should end the inning. You know, I mean, it's a little crowded over
I think the runner on second got in his way. They thought if he threw it a little sidearm, he'd have hit him, so he tried to go over top, and he just airmailed it.
Here's the guy that had the big day, Pedro Alvarez, his 11th, and Pittsburgh takes the 3-2 lead. Asdrubal, your thoughts? Yep. 5th inning, it's 4-4. They're loaded. Once again, it's McGee and Cabrera. 2-run score on that play, and the inning continues for it's the guy who homered earlier. There was a Cabrera error and an Alvarez home run. In the 4th, here in the 5th, a Cabrera error and an Alvarez home run. Pedro Alvarez, 2 home runs.
Is he living up to that potential that he came in when he got drafted?
Maybe starting to get there.
I hope so, because the Pirates need that pop in that lineup to go with McCutchen. They need it.
Cardinals, the 3rd-place team in this division right now. They're 5 back.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for them. You know, it's just injuries and it's the fact that the Reds are so dynamic.
All right, Cincinnati with a 4-game lead over the Pirates, 5 over the Cardinals in the National League Central. Here's the National League West, and the highlight game here was Dodgers and White Sox in L.A. Dodgers down 1-0 in the 6th. Ilian Herrera, right field. Alex Rios the catch, and this time Matt Trainer will remember to tag and score. Hold on, they appeal, and third base umpire Jerry Meal says, yes, he left early, take the run off the board, and Don Mattingly goes absolutely bonkers. This was the argument of the year. Let's see if he left early. Trainer on third. No, he didn't leave early.
No, he didn't.
He's good.
If those two are synced up correctly.
Good point.
He didn't leave early.
Fifth point. Mattingly was out there for what seemed like an hour and a half, and it got pretty animated. Well, he's done a great job with his team.
Really. He has. You think about, teams are complaining about, my injuries, and we have too many guys. Damn, their best player's been injured for a long time.
Go out there and play. In the ninth, Addison Reed blows the save. Juan Rivera sack fly. Abreu a will tag, and the Dodgers have come back now down to their final 2 outs in the ninth. They tie it up at 1. We'll go to the 10th. More extras here. A lot of extra inning games on this Father's Day. Tony Gwynn Jr. facing Matt Thornton. Jordan Danks is out there in left. Jordan Danks, clanks, goes all the way to the wall. Gwynn rounds second. He'll have 3.
He's thinking homer.
Now play it safe. There's 1 out, so he's the winning run, remember, so he'll stay safe 90 feet away. There were 2 outs when D. Gordon comes up with a chance to win the game. Walk off.
Yeah, that's big. And, you know, we said it a couple weeks ago. With Matt Kemp out, D. Gordon has to step up and be not only a run producer, but a guy who can score runs with his legs, and he's been doing a heck of a job.
You see Matt Kemp run out there and celebrate?
Yeah. Hey,
there's Matt Kemp with the shaving cream pie.
Hey, a lot of guys are up in the clubhouse in shorts and a T-shirt.
The Milkmen, the Giants at Safeco to face the Mariners, 1-1 in the 8th. Brandon League, it hits Andy Fletcher in the wrist, and Joe West has to come in from second base and take over the plate. Andy Fletcher has to leave. There's the Cowboy. Gregor Blanco at the plate. 3-1. Tom Wilhelmsen thinks that's ball 4. Joe West, well, he's new back there, so let's check the count. I just started here. No, you got to come back. I'm sorry. That was my bad. Blanco walks anyway.
There we go.
So 2 batters later, they're loaded. And Melky Cabrera, this guy has been a deadly weapon all year long, but Wilhelmsen gets the big strikeout. Next up, Nate Scherholz, Nate the Great. He's typically very clutch in these situations, grounds out. And they strand the bases loaded here in the top of the 9th, 1-1. Bottom 9, first and second, a chance for Justin Smoke to hit the walk-off for Seattle. Melky here, Crucky with the throw from left.
Well, look how deep he is, too, because he had to try to round that ball off to make a throw, and he made a heck of a throw that would have been an out, but it hit the runner, and it bounced away from Buster Posey, and the Giants lose.
What do you think about the National League West? It's been a somewhat disappointing division this year, especially with the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, it has, but, you know, you have to you said it, Don Mattingly's done a heck of a job with piecing together that Dodgers lineup and putting a winning team out there, and right now, they're easily the best team in that division.
Yeah, the rest of the division has not been there with the Dodgers, not as competitive as we thought, but Arizona's been winning some games lately. We'll see, and the Giants have certainly been doing a very good job with Tim Lincecum's issues and so forth. Web Gems coming up here. It's the Father's Day edition, the finest defensive plays from all over the Major League with the jumping and the diving and the running.
And the insanery.
And the whole thing. And the insanery, as Crucky coins some vocabulary here. Gerald Saltalamacchia, he's been Saltalamaggio lately. Behind the plate for the Red Sox, you'll see Red Sox and Cubs coming up top of the hour from Wrigley Field.
Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. Starlin Castro and Alfonso Soriano lead the Cubbies against Dustin Pedroia, Big Papi, and the Red Sox. Sunday Night Baseball. Red Sox Cubs at 8 tonight on ESPN.
This summer, our greatest battle will be fought between the living and the dead. Rated R, Friday.
Niagara Falls, the ultimate torture test for a deck. The ultimate protection, Thompson's Water Seal, chosen to protect the most water-drenched decks in America. The decks at Niagara Falls. Thompson's Water Seal, the most powerful protection against water damage, guaranteed.
The radical new MacBook Pro with Retina display. Innovation in every dimension.
Hey, big dog. Listen, son, your 20s, gosh, they can be such a magical time.
Wait, what? Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hey, Kevin.
Keisha, you made my car insurance super easy to understand. What are they talking about?
They're kicking you out.
What?
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there with a walk-in closet.
But I just graduated.
A dojo.
Oh! Son.
Gross.
I'll help you pack.
Agents make insurance easier. Get to a better state. State Farm.
Euro 2012. Everything is on the line in the Group C finale. Croatia takes on Spain for the top spot, and Italy needs a win against Ireland. The final matches from Group C, tomorrow at 2:30 on ESPN and ESPN2.
A recip saw may just be the most powerful tool you can own. Now you can use that power to save time, money, and hassle with Spider attachments. The scraper, the grout out, and the bore blade. Check out the Spider scraper. It scrapes paint, no sweat, but it also makes quick work of ceramic tile, carpet, and linoleum. And it cleans up adhesives like glue and thin set. Switch to Spider's grout out for the most powerful grout remover around. Grout out removes all types of grout, even epoxy or urethane. For demolition, switch to Spider's powerful bore blade. Its innovative design cuts 3 ways. That makes plunge cuts a breeze, while letting you reverse direction and keep on cutting. The bore blade cuts almost anything. Wood, shingles, nails, and more. Plus, it cuts all types of pipe.
Start saving time, money, and hassle today. Call or go online now to get all 3 Spider attachments for just $27.98. Spider attachments fit any reciprocating saw. Spider, tools you love for the jobs you don't. Available at Lowe's.
Welcome back to Baseball Tonight, presented by Chevrolet. Steve Berthume, John Kruk here with you fans filing into Wrigley. Now this is Krucky, this is Father's Day.
Yeah, look at this, beautiful. Look at that.
Take Dad to Wrigley Field. That's where we find Orel Hershiser, Terry Francona, and Dan Shulman. Guys.
Welcome to a beautiful Father's Day Sunday here on the north side of Chicago. We're at the corner of Addison and Clark, historic Wrigley Field, the home of the Cubs, as they host the visiting Boston Red Sox in interleague play. Hi, everybody, and happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. Dan Shulman, Terry Francona, and Orel Hershiser. Let's start with the visiting Red Sox. It has been an up and down season. A lot of injuries, a lot of inconsistency. Where's this team right now?
Well, really, it started out with the pitching. The bullpen was terrible the first 14 games. They got it squared away, and they've been outstanding the last 54, an ERA of only 2.01. But then the starters, they've got to get more consistent. John Lester, Josh Beckett now on the DL, and then you look to Clay Buchholz. Felix Dubron has really filled in very, very well. They need the starters to be consistent so they can get on a roll.
Year 1 of a new era here for the Cubs, and something these two franchises have in common. Theo Epstein, the former general manager of the Red Sox, when you were there, now the president of the Cubs. What's his mindset here in the first year in Chicago?
You know, I think he knows he has a major rebuilding job, and with the draft, the way the draft's different now, it may take a little bit longer, but he's too smart and he's too hard working. If you're a Cub fan, there's better days ahead. I mean, he's going to figure it out, and he won't rest until he does.
And you said might not be that far away, maybe just a couple of years, you think, huh?
He's a pretty smart guy, and he doesn't like losing.
So we'll see how it goes for the Cubs. Rubber match of a 3-game series tonight, and we'll see a couple of terrific middle infielders. Dustin Pedroia trying to battle a sore thumb. He says it's getting better. Looking to get his stroke turned around, start swinging the bat a little bit better against one of the top young talents in baseball, Starlin Castro of the Cubs. Back to you.
Dan, thanks very much. Check back with you in about 15 minutes from now. Let's go Samsung next level here in Metric Up with Josh Beckett on the DL. The Red Sox rotation once again under the microscope. The rotation has posted a fielding independent pitching mark of .439. That's 10th out of 14 American League teams. Krucky, as you know, FIP measures the things a pitcher can control: walks, strikeouts, home runs allowed, to try and assess their true ability. Needless to say, this appears to be an issue for the Red Sox. I saw you going over the FIP numbers earlier. Hey, it's our poll question. We'll answer this for you in the 6th inning, or give you your answer. Will the Red Sox make the playoffs? It's simple, yes or no. That's our next level matchup. You can text BT1 or BT2 to 43776. Next level matchup brought to you by Samsung. Help set your fantasy roster by checking out more Samsung next level matchups at ESPN.com/next level matchup. Braves have put Brandon Beachy on the 15-day DL with a sore right elbow. They've recalled Todd Redmond from AAA Gwinnett. Beachy leads the majors in ERA at 2, but he had some elbow soreness in his last start, had to leave early yesterday, scheduled for an MRI on the elbow left against the Orioles in the 4th inning yesterday. Certainly not good news for the Braves, who are trying to press on here. Craig Kimbrell celebrating Father's Day with his dad. He got a motorcycle as a Father's Day present. That's nice.
Who got that? He got that for his dad?
Yeah, pretty cool.
That is cool.
They bring him out to the ballpark. They give it to him right there. Nicely done.
Celebrate with everyone.
Adam Jones doubled, later scored on a sac fly to make it 1-0. And Drelton Simmons, the future is now at shortstop in Atlanta.
That's not a slow man that hit it either.
It's Adam Jones.
Adam Jones
Simmons
can run.
started the year in the minors. They knew the glove was ready. They wanted the bat to be ready too, but he is settling in nicely there at the Major League level. The story here, and this guy's been an ongoing story all year long for the Orioles, Wei-Yin Chen. One night after Jason Hamill pitched a one-hit shutout, you've got Wei-Yin Chen, who's been very consistent all year.
Very consistent, and this is what you need for a third, fourth starter, consistency. Just go out there and give us 6, 7 innings and you know, let us see if we can score some runs. I love the way he pitches, though. I mean, he's not afraid to throw his fastball. You know, he throws a breaking ball at any time he wants, but, you know, he will pitch inside with that fastball, and that's a beautiful thing.
Wei-Yin Chen, 7 scoreless. In his last 3 starts, he's 3-0 with a 2.21 ERA. Here's Randall Delgado in the 6th. Steve Pearce, Matt Diaz. Oh, wow.
In there. That's a helpless feeling because you know you can't jump.
There's no way to make up for it.
It's going over your head.
Pierce on. Oh, we're going to balk in another run here. Delgado balks with Pierce on third. The Orioles win it. They get only 4 hits in Atlanta, but they win 2-0 behind the pitching of Wei-Yin Chen. Boy, the Orioles have really been playing well as of late. Baltimore has won 7 of 8. It's not been going well at all for Charlie Manuel and the Phillies. They're in Toronto. Colby Rasmus, Brett Laurie will score. 1-0 Toronto. Boy, Crucky, the Phillies are 4-12 in June.
Well, you know, a lot of times when a team has been that good for that long, sometimes they think we can just throw our gloves out there and we're going to beat people. But this is what's been happening. They make a lot of mistakes. Great play there by Martinez, but, you know, there has to be a call from Carlos Ruiz to Martinez that, hey, look, I'm throwing down, and this can't happen.
They're going to try and pick off Joey Bats over there at first, and they got him. Carlos Ruiz back in the lineup. Top 2, Jim Thome. Look out. 4th different player with 100 home runs with 3 different teams. A-Rod, Reggie Jackson, and Darrell Evans have all hit at least 100 homers with 3 different teams. Thome becomes the 4th guy to do that. And the Phillies are down 2-1. 3-2 Blue Jays in the 5th. Once again, it's Colby Rasmus. He had a big day. 3 for 4. He's got 9 RBI in his last 7 games. It's Colby Rasmus again in the 7th. Blue Jays win 6-2, and they sweep the Phillies. Phillies have lost 6 of 8. They are now 4-12 in June. It's not going well at all. Yikes. Marlins and Rays. Yeah, well, I mean, maybe they get somebody back soon and do something.
I don't know if it's going to help. I really don't.
You keep Cole Hamels?
I don't know if you have a choice. I think you got to.
Marlins and Rays. B.J. Upton leads it off with a home run off Josh Johnson. Upton's 5th, 1-0 Tampa Bay. Plenty with the way Alex Cobb pitched today. This guy showed flashes before, but he was very good today. Alex Cobb, only 2 hits and 7 scoreless, 10 strikeouts. Let's flash back. Father's Day, September 15th, 2009. Jason Worth, Upper Deck Citizens Bank. The guy catches it, gives it to his little girl. No! Oh, no, that was in Philly a few Father's Days ago, 2009.
How can you get mad?
So we go back to today, bottom 8, Drew Sutton, foul ball. We're not going to repeat this, are we? It's a gentleman and his young son. No! Too late. He turned away for just a split second.
All right, now he's mad. There you go.
Yeah,
someone gave it back. Here you go.
I'll just hold this for you for the rest of the
my pocket. You'll never see it again.
Fernando Rodney. Marlins have.
What is that, the bow and arrow? What is that move?
Yeah, sort of a Sagittarius Archer kind of a deal, maybe.
Sagittarius Archer.
Horoscope for you. Threw that in at you. Rays win 3-0. The Rays are 5-1 against Miami this year. The Yankees and the Nationals. Adam LaRoche off of Von Nova, his 12th 1-1. Boy, the Yankees, Crucky, despite this, have been rolling. Bryce Harper, 0 for 7, 5 strikeouts yesterday. Really struggled against Andy Pettitte. Doubles off the wall here against Nova.
Well, I think Bryce Harper figured out, okay, the Yankees are going to throw me breaking balls, so I'm going to set on him. At first at bat, he had a 2-0 count. He swung at a 2-0 breaking ball, which is pretty much a cardinal sin for a hitter when you're looking fastball. But this is the adjustments a 9-year-old makes. Now he's starting to look for breaking balls because that's all they've been throwing him.
Oh, Adam LaRoche, he can hit, man.
Beautiful
one on,
swing.
Nobody out. 2 batters later, there's one out with LaRoche hitting that one off the wall. Ian Desmond comes up here. Desmond with a knock against Nova. They're going to hold LaRoche at third, so they're on the corners here. Big spot for Danny Espinosa. Nova, in a 1-1 game here in the 4th, could really use a ground ball.
He has those abilities.
Nova and Espinosa. Nova, 1 earned on 7 hits in 7 2/3. Only 4 strikeouts, but he's shown he doesn't need to be a high strikeout guy to be effective.
Yeah, you know, sometimes it's good to use your defense. Let these guys make the plays.
Granderson.
That's not bad either.
His 21st, 2-1 Yankees. Man. Boy, the New York Yankees have now, let's see, won 9 in a row. 12 of 13 and 19 of their last 23.
3 sweeps in a row.
Robinson Cano. Man, Nova 12-0 in his last 15 road starts. Here is now the Yankee rotation. Nova turns in another great performance today. The Yankee starters have been red hot this month. 11-1. 11-1 in June, 1.97 ERA. The rotation's ERA has also gone down each month. 5.80 in April, 1.97 in June. So, Crookie, AL East and National East, what has stood out to you so far?
Well, the Yankees have established themselves, in my opinion, as the best team in either one of those divisions. And, I thought the Nationals, with their pitching, would have a chance to compete against any team. And you just saw what the Yankees did to them. The Yankees rotation came in. They outpitched the Washington Nationals rotation. They outhit their lineup. The Yankees... You keep trying to think, they're older, they can't continue this, but they keep getting better as the season goes on, and you see it now. That rotation right now is, in the month of June, is the best in baseball, the best on the planet. And if they can pitch like that, they have a knack to score runs. They just know how to play the game. They run the bases terrific. They hit behind runners great. They make quality outs when they do make outs. And to me, right now, they've taken that step as the best team in baseball, in my opinion.
Boy, Phil Hughes looks absolutely terrific. He looked awful earlier than the year. He seemed to have figured it out now. The Yankees have won 19 of 23. It's been a crazy Father's Day here. A lot of extra inning games, some walk-offs. We've already seen a couple. Here's another one. It's another Kayak.com one-and-done walk-off moment. Denard Span, bottom 15, and the Twins beat the Brewers. The Span walk-off in a rain-delayed extra inning game at Target Field. Long Father's Day in downtown.
Look at it. He got good moves. Look at it. They can't catch him.
Ben Revere can't chase him down. Let's take a look at today's home runs. Cue the screaming baseball. Where? Going.
Deep to center field. Track, wall, see ya!
Long one to left. Billy Butler has tied it up.
That ball's hit well. Deep to right field. It is gone!
Hit in the air out toward deep left center field. Hit pretty good. At the wall. Gone! Big fly for Albert Pujols.
All right, here's Paul Maholm taking his walk out to the bullpen. He's the starter tonight for the Chicago Cubs. The former Mississippi State Bulldog Truckee ready to ring that cowbell tonight on Sunday Night Baseball.
Looks like our work is done here. I'm heading home. Need some help, ma'am? Oh, thank you. These things are heavy.
Built for work and everything you work for.
Hey, honey, glad you're home.
The Chevy Silverado, our most powerful HD yet. From fathers to sons, Chevy runs deep.
Stand. Eat, work, gym, shower, beer, watch, sleep. Dream. Eat, work, gym, shower, bar, beer, sleep.
Dream.
Eat, work, gym, shower, bar, cab, sleep.
Weird.
Eat, work.
Corona Light. That's refreshing.
Bro hugs, costume party, girl, karaoke, dance-a-thon, photo booth, digit swapping, all night. Corona Light. Stand.
To perform your best, training's gotta be a lifelong passion.
Michael!
Fueled by a foot-long passion. That's why Debbie Phelps is always there for her son Michael, with his favorite flavor-packed, fully jacked foot-long subs.
Only one?
Michael!
Dive into Michael's fave, the protein powerhouse Subway turkey and bacon avocado. Made fresh for this champion with extra jalapenos.
Subway.
The official training restaurant of the Phelps family.
And athletes everywhere.
There's something about cars. We connect with them. We share them. It's the same feeling that drives Pennzoil to tirelessly pursue the latest advances in oil technology. Because a car is more than just a car. Long, love cars. Not just oil, Pennzoil.
See Tim McGraw on the Brothers of the Sun Tour. Enter now for a chance to win at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
How to put a value on a home. You start by taking the smell of pancakes made on a Sunday morning and times that by the sound of kids laughing from the bottom of their bellies. Then you add the taste of a good Cabernet with family on Thanksgiving. Multiply all this by about 50,000 memories and 100,000 smiles. And then you have the value of a home. Coldwell Banker, where home begins.
Baseball tonight is presented by Chevrolet, official vehicle of Major League Baseball, and proud to support baseball in communities across the country. Clean up that plate, Truckee.
You got to be.
Monday night, they're calling it the Big Show, Braves and Yankees. That's Monday Night Baseball, 7 o'clock Eastern time from Yankee Stadium. Then Wednesday night, it's the Cardinals and Tigers. You'll see Matt Holliday and Prince Fielder at 7 Eastern on ESPN 2. Here are the 5 finest defensive plays we've seen from this Major League Baseball Father's Day. This is Baseball Tonight. This is where web gems were invented. Andre Ethier in here at number 5 for the Dodgers and White Sox. They get the walk-off win over Chicago, and they get the Ethier gem into the wow. He hit that wall hard.
He hit the wall hard, and that had to be a quick jump because the ball was getting there quicker than he was. Look at that play. Well, they not have went out, though.
Great play.
Still a great play.
Ben Revere. Here's Norichika Aoki for the Brewers in Minnesota. Ben Revere. He was the web gem king last year.
Tell you what, when you hit that ball right there, you're thinking that's an easy double.
Oh, in that ballpark,
away from him, maybe a triple.
In that ballpark, you can run until Labor Day. Alcides Escobar, this guy's been cranking them out lately. That was pretty.
That was like the Gonzalez play early in the season. Ooh.
Alcides Escobar, his 5th web gem of the year. This is a surprise. This isn't number 1. Dat dude BP walks between the legs. That's pretty cool.
Look at Joey Votto. Joey Votto, like, what do I do now? Who do I throw it to around the infield? He's going to do something fun with it. Look at that. Between the legs.
Zach
Full
Cozart,
run.
4.63. Dat dude BP's 7th web gem of the year. It's not number 1. Andrelton Simmons, the shortstop in Atlanta, has his 3rd web gem of the year. Andrelton Simmons. They love the glove. They wanted to see if the bat was ready, and he appears to be the complete package at shortstop now and for the long-term future in Atlanta.
Beautiful. That's a tough one.
Andrelton Simmons. But is it better than the reigning gem? It's Gregor Blanco, who kept Matt Cain perfect the other night. The 4-time reigning champion in center field in San Francisco. Were you watching that game?
I was watching, and when that ball was hit, I thought if the center fielder doesn't catch it, that's a double at least. And then Blanco comes out of nowhere. Why would a right fielder be playing that far into right center field with a left-handed hitter?
I can't answer that.
Matt Cain asked him that in his press conference after. What were you doing there?
It works out. It's been an amazing Father's Day all over the major leagues. What stood out to you from everything you saw today?
I think go back to the Yankees. They've swept 3 series in a row, and that's just something that, it doesn't happen a lot if it happens at all. And then, I think they just established themselves as, we're the best, and come get us.
The Yankees have won 9 straight and 19 of 23. For John Kruk, I'm Steve Berthune. Thanks for watching Baseball Tonight. Now it's time to head to the north side of Chicago for ESPN's Sunday Night Baseball. It's presented by Taco Bell. Oral Hershiser, Terry Francona, and Dan Schulman have the call. Enjoy the game.
Bert, thank you. Welcome to the north side of Chicago, historic Wrigley Field, the longtime home of the Chicago Cubs. A beautiful end to the weekend here. And is there a better spot for a father and son or father and daughter to celebrate Father's Day than a ballpark? We'll see the young and talented Starlin Castro of the Chicago Cubs trying to lead them to a series victory over Dustin Pedroia and the Boston Red Sox, who are trying to get back to the 500 mark with a win here tonight. Let's check out what's happened so far in this series. Ryan Dempster says, I get a triple about every 10 years, and Friday was that day. He would come in to score on a base hit by David DeJesus. That made it 3-0 for the Cubs in the second inning. Dempster did the job on the mound as well. 7 shutout innings. The Cubs win by a score of 3-0 as Carlos Marmol, recently put back into the closer spot, wraps it up for the save. Yesterday, it was the Red Sox turn to get off to a good start. They were up 4-0, and then John Lester took care of the rest, pitching shutout ball into the 7th inning before he gave up a 3-run opposite field home run to Luis Valbuena to make it a 1-run game. But the Red Sox would turn a nice double play to win the game 4-3, so each team has won once in this series. It is warm, not too warm. It is windy. Looks like it's blowing out. Tough night to be a pitcher here at Wrigley Field. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Chicago. Dan Shulman, Terry Francona, and Orel Hershiser. The Boston Red Sox have had an interesting season. They've had their ups, their downs, they're good, they're bad. Dustin Pedroia is such a key guy if they're going to make a move in the second half of the season.
Yeah, and again, he's maybe small in stature, but when he gets hot, he can carry a ball club. With his personality, with his run production, the way he approaches the game, it's infectious. And when he gets hot, you watch the Red Sox get hot right behind him.
A guy who has been hot for the bulk of the season, really has been the best hitter that the Red Sox have had this year. David Ortiz is standing by with a buster rolling.
David, you guys need a string of victories. What do the Red Sox have to do better to make that happen?
Well, we need to stay consistent on everything. You know, sometimes we come and pitch good, we don't hit well. Sometimes we hit well, we don't pitch well. You know, it's a whole package that we got to put together to stay consistent on winning.
You got one of your first starts or few starts at first base during the course of the year. What's the biggest challenge about that for you?
Being out there. You know, I just try to have fun when I'm out there, you know, and try not to do too much. I had a good communication with Pedroia and the rest of the guys, and I try not to be on their way. You know, they're out there every day. They have a better idea of how execute on play, and just try to stay out of their way.
David, thanks.
He always manages to have fun. He's doing a pretty good job between the white lines as well. As is a young player for the Cubs, 22-year-old Starlin Castro. All kinds of talk, Orel. A rebuilding mode. Will they make some trades? Is Castro a building block, though, for the future?
I think he's a franchise player. There's big decisions, but I don't think it's on this young man. I love his speed. I love the way he plays defense, sometimes erratic with his throwing arm. The hits just keep on coming. 424 at 22 and 85 days. There's only been 5 guys in the history of baseball to have more hits than that time of his age. This kid is fantastic. He's a building block.
Red Sox, Cubs, Wrigley, Father's Day. It's a good mix for a ball game here tonight. Settle back. Happy Father's Day to everybody out there. Sunday Night Baseball is coming up next.
If you can hold your nachos with one hand, you can be a hero with the other. Taco Bell's new beefy nacho burrito. It's the two-handed nachos you love in a one-handed burrito for only 99 cents.
The Ram 1500 Express. It says a lot about you. In a deep, Hemi Rumble sort of way. Guts, glory, Ram.
0 calories. Maximum Pepsi taste.
Sorry I yelled at you all these years.
Cece, glad you made it.
Oh, what is this place?
Iowa. Only with maximum Pepsi taste and 0 calories.
Whoa.
I love it when he does that. Learn more about the Pepsi Max Field of Dreams at MLB.com/Pepsi Max.
I'm a Major League Baseball All-Star.
I didn't get here by chance. I didn't take the road of easy or the path of the painless. I worked hard to take this field.
For my team, for my league.
Some call it an all-star break.
It's not a break.
It's not a break, but we play on. Because the battle for the postseason begins now. I play for the American League. Juego para la Liga Americana. I play for the National League. I will win. I will win. I will win. The road to October starts here.
The MLB All-Star Game, July 10th.
This is the Dremel Sawmax, the versatile tool system that gives you the ability to make all your common cuts with confidence. Easily cut through everyday materials like wood, drywall, plastic, plywood, and more. With an unparalleled view of the task at hand, the Sawmax even makes quick work of tough materials. all with the ease of single-handed operation. Check out the Dremel Sawmax wherever power tools are sold, or visit Dremel.com for a free project DVD. Cut with confidence. Cut with the Dremel Sawmax.
Oh, geez, guys. Dave's choking again.
Hey, Verlander, a little help over here?
Thanks, Justin.
Don't worry, Dave. You're not the first guy I've seen choke.
Real big fathead. Get yours at fathead.com.
Welcome to ESPN's presentation of the ALNL Showdown, presented by State Farm.
For a dad, there's nothing like taking your kid to the ballpark, teaching them the game, answering their questions, like, can I get a hot dog? Ice cream? Cotton candy? Bases loaded in the 6th. Can I go to the bathroom? Your team's rally just thwarted. What does 6-4-3 mean? Your team down 1, a man on first with nobody out. The batter swings away. Your son tugs at your shirt. You look down at him. Why aren't they bunting? You smile. Great question.
And welcome back to Wrigley Field here in Chicago. Sunday night baseball on ESPN. Beautiful night for baseball with the Red Sox taking on the Cubs, each team having won once already in this series. Going to be a lot of Boston fans here in the ballpark. They have been all over this place so far this weekend. First-year manager, the man who sat beside us in the booth last year, Bobby Valentine. The team is a game under 500 right now under Bobby V. Let's check out the starting lineup, the batting order for the Red Sox tonight, presented by Taco Bell, a guy who has really given them a lift. Didn't even start the season with him. Outfielder Scott Podsednik hitting over 400 as a starter, almost 400 overall. Dustin Pedroia missed some time with a bad thumb since returning, just 6 for 45. David Ortiz, one of the few Red Sox hitters really consistently good all season long, putting up some big numbers for the Red Sox. On the mound tonight for the hometown Chicago Cubs, Oral, left-hander Paul Maholm.
Paul Maholm is a basic 4-pitch pitcher. The key for his success, his fastball cuts naturally into right-handed hitters. He needs to try and keep the ball down, low and away to righties. That is his arm side, and then be able to command his curveball enough to use it as an out pitch, but also use it to get back into counts when he's 0-0, 1-0, 2-0. That would really help him.
Defensively for the Cubs, a guy whose name has come up as a possible trade candidate for the Cubs heading toward the deadline, veteran outfielder Reed Johnson. He's in right. Starlin Castro can make the spectacular play. Dale Swaim, as manager, told us before, he's been playing great defense for the last 6 weeks. 7 errors in total on the season thus far. And behind the plate, Wellington Castillo gets the start. The number 1 guy, Giovanni Soto, is still on the DL, but perhaps just a couple of days, a day or two away from returning. The Cubs are heading to the south side of Chicago to take on their crosstown rivals, the White Sox, beginning tomorrow night. A look from the rooftops across Sheffield beyond the right field wall. You can get a similar view from the rooftops beyond the left field wall, beyond Wayland Avenue. It is as unique a place as there is in baseball. Is this your first time, Tito, from a bird's eye view here at Wrigley, or have you been up here before?
No, I've never been up here. There's no bad view at Wrigley, in my opinion.
Ready for baseball. And a strike called by home plate umpire Brian Onora. It is 0-1 on Scott Podsednik.
This is what all the new ballparks are trying to do, get this feeling, except with new amenities.
Just a little bit low. A ball and a strike on Podsednik, hitting a .390. Went to camp with the Phillies. Battled Juan Pierre for a spot on the roster. Pierre won it. And now here's Podsednik. And boy, have the Red Sox needed outfielders with all their injuries this year. And he has done a magnificent job as he loops a base hit into center. And he's on base again.
And he's played mostly against right-handers. That was only his 6th at-bat against lefties. But when you lose a guy like Ellsbury, you're certainly not going to replace him, but he's done a tremendous job.
And he's got some speed. Bobby Valentine has used 23 different outfield configurations this season because of all the injuries they've had. Podsednik getting the start in left field tonight. He's aboard. And the number 2 hitter in the Red Sox lineup, second baseman Dustin Pedroia. Now, Tito, you managed Pedroia for a number of years. When he's banged up or scuffling or both, what's he like?
Well, he's never boring, and that's putting it, you know. But when they're losing and he's beat up, he doesn't like it, and he wears it on his sleeve, and he becomes ultra aggressive. You watch him swinging the bat on the bases. It's like, you know, he's going to Red Bull the other team to death. And that's part of what, you know, you like about him, but it's hard for him to hold back.
Big slow curveball misses a little bit outside.
He thinks he should be able to carry the team on his shoulders all the time.
Former MVP and a guy who's capable of putting up big numbers. It's the thumb on his right hand. He missed 6 games with it. There was some talk, would he go on the DL, would he not? He didn't, and he's only hitting 133 since missing those 6 games.
Well, you love that attitude that Terry's talking about, just that fire, because when he's hot, he can just keep it on a roll for so long. And that kind of attitude, even though it seems like it's pressing or trying to carry the team, that'll get you out of slumps too pretty quick, because you are just paying attention to every detail.
Let's see if Podsednik's on the move. He is not, and Pedroia drills the ball up the alley in left center field, getting all the way to the ivy. Podsednik getting the wave around third. Relay to the plate, not in time, and the Red Sox have an early lead. Hands up.
And or you talked about it, or if he elevates, he's going to get in trouble.
And this pitch in the middle of the plate, Tito, and I tell you what, the swing right here is outstanding. This is not trying too hard. He's right on this ball, and he just drives it.
And when he gets hot, he can get as hot as anybody in the game, and he doesn't hit singles. He gets home runs, he gets doubles, he steals bases.
So a run in early for the Red Sox. Kevin Youkilis takes low ball 1. Bobby Valentine having to get very creative with his lineup, with Will Middlebrooks, the third baseman, up from the minors and doing a nice job. Youkilis back from injury. And now with interleague play as well, they lose the DH in these games. So David Ortiz is in the lineup at first base tonight. Youkilis at third. He lifts a fly ball fairly deep to Johnson in right. Pedroia tagging. And will advance to third.
And that's a really nice piece of hitting right there.
It sure is. That'll show up as an 0 for 1 for Kevin Youkilis. And he's struggling, but he's still doing the team thing of hitting the ball to right field. Gives himself up, sets them up for their second run.
Those are the things that teammates notice. And you look in the dugout right there. Guys appreciate that.
He's been scuffling now 0 for his last 19, but he did move a runner. Got him to third with 1 out, and that's going to force Dale Swaim to bring his infield in here in the first inning. A run in already. And the batter, David Ortiz.
And what they're trying to play is not quite in. They're trying to play at a depth where Pedroia won't go on contact. They're trying to stay away from a big inning, but they don't want to give up a cheap run.
I think this is a depth that most infield should play when they play in anyway, unless it's do or die. I think because it makes your manager, your third base coach, and your runner decide, are we going on contact or are we making the ball go through? It makes it a tougher decision.
I'm going to tell you something. As a third base coach, this makes your life miserable.
Yeah. A lot of times you put it on the runner.
Yeah, when they mess up.
Ball and strike. Ortiz didn't like it. Having a big year, hitting over 300, 15 homers, 41 RBIs already. He missed a game in the series. Youkilis missed one. Middlebrooks missed one. Trying to get everybody in there. Pulls the base hit into right field. 2-0 Boston.
And David, what David's done so well the last year and a half is he's back to hitting left-handers again. And it's because he's staying on the ball, extension. And if nobody's on base and they're able to play the shift, that's probably a ground out to short right field. But because the runner's at third, they have to play the infield where they do, and it's a base hit. Seen him hit that same ground ball into the shift so many times, and it's a, hey, nice swing, hang with him.
So tough start for the Cubs, down 2-0 early. Mike Aviles the batter, and he'll take ball one. Aviles the shortstop for the Red Sox, and look at the production, Orel. 37 RBIs out of a guy at short, on pace for 80 to 90 RBIs the way things are going.
And battled out of spring training to get the job, and has just been one of those parts that a lot of Red Sox fans and people around the nation that know the Red Sox roster would just say the spare parts that are doing so well for Bobby Valentine.
In the air to left center field. Mather is there, shy of the track, 2 down.
And he's, for the most part, Mike Aviles has hit either first or ninth when they're in the American League. And to get that kind of production out of that part of the order is unbelievable.
You look at Pasednik and Aviles and McDonald and Kelly Shopik, and they have just gotten great production out of guys that it just was not expected.
Yep. Daniel Nava giving him some big moments. 2 down now, and a strike taken by Darnell McDonald.
Not in there tonight, Jared Saltalamacchia.
Yep.
Starting catcher has been outstanding.
Hit his 12th home run of the season yesterday.
You need the guys with the resumes to step up to get back into this race.
And this is a day in Wrigley when you don't want a day off. When those flags are blown out, everybody wants to play.
As a starting pitcher, when the bus pulled up here and you knew you were pitching that day, that was the first place you looked when you came out of the bus. You looked to your right, and then you looked up at the flags. And it was not a lot of fun when you saw the wind blowing out. Didn't feel like friendly confines.
You know, back in the day when Kurt Schilling was pitching for me with the Phillies and he was striking out 300, this was the one place where he looked mortal. those flags would be blown out, and old Schill just couldn't get it done. That's the only place I've ever seen him struggle.
You can have a 13-12 game here in a heartbeat.
In a hurry. Yeah. You go to bullpen too quick, you can get into a bind. But there's also days, and people don't realize this, when that wind blows in, it's not fair either.
No.
There's no in between here.
It is definitely a pitcher's park then, and they keep the grass thick and long year round. So when you do finally get the wind coming in off the lake and those chilly days where the ball doesn't carry much, it's fun to pitch.
Oh yeah, they cut the infield with a sickle.
You can see a little damage. They had a concert here last week, and there's a fair bit of damage on the grass out there. They actually spray painted some of it in the outfield to try to make it blend in a little bit better. You can see with limited success they're going to resod the field after the Cubs leave for their road trip. It hasn't appeared to have been a problem. Obviously takes away aesthetically from what you like to see when you come here to Wrigley.
Well, the ground is still level, but if you have a ground ball rolling through there, it might be an issue.
Fouled off. It was a Roger Waters concert that led to this damage, but by the time anybody gets back here a week from now, should be fine. Dale Swain, first-year manager of the Cubs, guy who coached for you, Tito, in Boston for a couple of years.
You know, they picked a good guy. He's an old-fashioned baseball guy, and if you play the game right, he'll have no problem with it.
1-2 again, and McDonald lifts one down the right field line. Johnson over to make the catch. And the inning is over. But it's a good start for the Red Sox, and a guy we talked about off the top of the show getting it going for Boston. Dustin Pedroia doubles in a run, scoring Scott Pasednik from first base. Bobby V loves what he's seeing early. 2-0 Boston with the Cubs coming up.
Those surprising little things she does still make you take notice. There are a million reasons why. But your erectile dysfunction? That could be a question of blood flow. Cialis for daily use helps you be ready anytime the moment's right. You can be more confident in your ability to be ready. And the same Cialis is the only daily ED tablet approved to treat ED and symptoms of BPH, like needing to go frequently or urgently. Tell your doctor about all your medical conditions and medications and ask if your heart is healthy enough for sexual activity. Do not take Cialis if you take nitrates for chest pain, as this may cause an unsafe drop in blood pressure. Do not drink alcohol in excess with Cialis. Side effects may include headache, upset stomach, delayed backache, or muscle ache. To avoid long-term injury, seek immediate medical help for an erection lasting more than 4 hours. If you have any sudden decrease or loss in hearing or vision, or if you have any allergic reactions, such as rash, hives, swelling of the lips, tongue, or throat, or difficulty breathing or swallowing, stop taking Cialis and get medical help right away. Ask your doctor about Cialis for daily use and a 30-tablet free trial.
The all-new 6 Series Grand Coupe. The first ever 6 Series with 4 doors. It's truly a sight to behold. We only make one thing, the ultimate driving machine.
ESPN Sunday Night Baseball is presented by Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Mas. And in part by Ram Trucks. Guts, glory, Ram. Beautiful day, beautiful city. Bottom of the first in Chicago at Wrigley Field. A 2-0 lead for the Red Sox over the Cubs. As Dale Swaim sends his team out there to try to do some damage against Franklin Morales. The starting lineup for the Cubs tonight, brought to you by Taco Bell, features a very young, very exciting player in Starlin Castro. Hit over 300 each of his first 2 years, and he's close to 300 at 291 so far this season. Also a guy who didn't hit a home run until the middle of May, and he's got 12 since. Alfonso Soriano. Is he possibly trade bait even with 2 years left on that enormous contract? Time will tell. Soriano with 12 homers and 41 RBIs on the season. They will face a left-hander and a fill-in starter. Franklin Morales filling in for Josh Beckett, who just went on the DL with some tendonitis in his shoulder.
It's his first start since 2009. He's been pretty much a career reliever. Started for Colorado back then, needing to fill in for Josh Beckett here. Outstanding fastball. 94 miles an hour, and one of the largest differentials between fastball and curveball. His curveball gets down to 76.
See how deep into the game he can go. He has had 2 relief outings recently that were fairly deep. His last one was 3 innings, and the one before that was 4 1/3, going 52 pitches. Reed Johnson will look at a strike.
There's never been anything wrong with his stuff, but when he doesn't command, he has long innings, and that's what they don't need tonight. Now they got a day off tomorrow, so their bullpen they're going to go their bullpen and use everybody.
And talking to Bobby Valentine before the game about how far can he go, and he said when he threw those 42 pitches, that long relief outing, he wanted more. The only reason Bobby took him out of the game is because he knew he needed him in the future, and he was a bullpen piece. But here tonight, I wouldn't be surprised to see him go 65, 70 pitches if he's throwing the ball well.
And 4 1/3 and then 3 innings in his last 2 appearances. 27 years of age, from Venezuela, facing the veteran Reed Johnson. And it's just outside with a breaking ball. Couldn't tell from the way Brian O'Nora was moving around after that pitch came in whether he was going to ring him up or not.
I thought he was getting all cranked up to ring him up.
Looked like he was getting out of the way. He thought it was a fastball and got a knee buckler from the back.
Johnson, versatile guy, generally a platoon player, has never really truly been an everyday guy. But a guy, Tito, especially in the National League, love to have on your team. He can pinch hit, pinch run, play all 3 outfield spots, and it wouldn't surprise anybody if he's wearing a different uniform in August.
And he's actually learned to hit right-handers better. He's always, like you said, been mostly a guy to face left-handers. This year he's handling righties a lot better. But you're right. There's a pretty good. You're going to look up and see him on a contender helping out. Understands his role. Good teammate. If you hang it, he can hit a homer.
Rips one down the left field line. That is a fair ball. And Johnson gliding into second with a leadoff double.
Well, as we're saying, if you leave it in the middle, this is an off-speed pitch. But it just catches too much of the plate. And with 2 strikes, even though he's out front a little bit, he's got those good hitter's hands. He's made a living on that.
Yeah, the width wasn't too bad on that pitch. It was a little bit too high.
This guy goes back. There's a game in Fenway Park about 4 years ago. He didn't start the game. He was playing for Toronto, and he ended up with 7 RBIs. From that day on, I became a fan.
Here's Darwin Barney, the second baseman, hitting .275 on the season.
Morales doesn't do a great job holding runners, but the one thing he does do is when the runner's at first, he's got a wicked pickoff move. But if you can stay away from that, you can run on him.
Johnson, the leadoff double. Morales glancing back in his direction. Now the pitch to Barney, who chases down and out of the zone, and the count is 0-2. Barney, originally a 4th-round pick in 2007, won a College World Series. And it's that time of year. Orioles heading off to Omaha tomorrow.
We've got the late game tomorrow night. South Carolina against Arkansas.
Make sure you tell those U of A Wildcats that I'm pulling for them.
Is that going to help?
I don't know. Maybe I get a free basketball ticket.
Okay, I just want to make sure I help you.
A little jam shot foul up the third baseline. Let's check out the schedule from Omaha. NCAA College World Series action continues tomorrow on ESPN2. 5 o'clock Eastern Time. It'll be Florida and Kent State, and then the game that Oral will have for you. He'll be down in there in time to bring you Arkansas and South Carolina. Great action from Omaha. How many years you done that now, Oral?
Oh boy, I think it's about 7. I was there when Oregon State won back-to-back. 2-time defending champ. South Carolina, they're in there again. I work with the man with 2 first names, Mike Patrick.
How about the way Omaha puts on that event?
It's wonderful.
It is
second year in the new stadium.
0-2. Pops him up. So Barney, who's pretty good at working in that 2-spot, Tito, handling the bat, cannot get the runner over.
And those are the things that, again, Dale Swayman are trying to teach these guys, that right there, he wanted him to move the runner. At worst, wanted him to be at third with 1 out.
Oral, do we give Morales a lot of credit, too, for consistently keeping the ball right in?
I'll tell you what, it was a tough pitch sequence. He really pitched very, very well there to keep that runner at second base. You want to get on Darwin Barney, and it does kill the spirit of the Cubs, but Morales did an outstanding job. Fastball in, a little breaking ball that would have made him pull the ball and not move the runner over, and then just jamming him.
So here's Castro, hitting .291 on the season, 5 homers, 34 RBIs. And this is a guy who gets discussed and dissected and broken down and analyzed as much as any player on this team, because he has so many positives and yet some weaknesses too that he's trying to address. Some have been addressed, but the natural ability is there and is obvious. Into right center field and down and all the way to the fence. Castro thinking 3. And in there, standing up.
And, you know, we talk about Castro with all the tools he has and some of the immaturities. A lot of guys that are his age are in Double-A making those mistakes.
Yeah, 22 years old, 85 days. That's his 425th hit. And there's only 5 guys in all the big leagues have ever had that many hits at that age. So this guy's in rare company. Alex Rodriguez, Robin Yount, Cesar Cedeno, unbelievable people, Al Kaline. So there's franchise ability in that body. And the mistakes that Dan has talked about are really just mistakes of youth. You know, footwork on throws, some not paying attention on every single pitch all the time, but the ability is unquestionable.
His 6th triple of the season, now one back of the National League leader, Melky Cabrera, in that department. 2-1. Red Sox lead the Cubs. Runner at third, 1 out. Infield back for Alfonso Soriano.
And this is the same situation the Cubs had last inning. The Red Sox elect to play it back. Again, the flags are blown out. You got to expect that this game's not going to end up 2-2, and they're just going to take it out.
Well, Bobby Valentine went out for a little visit there with Frankie Morales, and I think he went out there to tell him, look, you're a starter. It's the first inning. We don't care if we give this run up. It's not a big relief situation. He's been in relief now for 150-some appearances. So as a starter, there's a different mentality right here as far as just getting out, give up a run. We'll start this game over with.
0-1 the count on Soriano. Way inside. Soriano in year 6 of his 8-year deal, $17 million per season. Obviously, if the Cubs were to try to move him, they'd have to eat a ton of money. Soriano doesn't run nearly as much as he used to, a little bit older, has a sore knee, but he can still get hot and get on a roll like he's been on recently. 1-2.
And, you know, I think people, and for obvious reasons, they look at his stats and then they look at his contract and they don't match up. But he's quietly actually having a pretty productive year.
See Theo Epstein, the former
small boss.
Yeah, former general manager in Boston, Tito's boss, and now the president of baseball operations. Jed Hoyer is the general manager here. Jed Hoyer was in Boston, went to San Diego, became the GM. Theo Epstein brought him to Chicago. This is year 1 of the new management team, if you will.
See some of those gray hairs on Theo's head. I think I gave him a few of those.
Well, you were there what? You were there 8 years. He was there 10 years, right?
Yeah, we were together 8 years.
Yeah.
That poor guy.
And a couple of World Series championships, of course, in 2004 and 7, and high hopes because of the success that the Red Sox had under Theo Epstein in Boston, that he can bring the same kind of results here to Chicago. Obviously, a team. There's a foul ball. This is a franchise. I mean, 86 years without a World Series. Come on, that ain't nothing. The Chicago Cubs are over. This is what, 103 now. This will be 104 if they don't win it this year.
What do you mean if?
you know what? And I know Cubs fans have been living and dying for a long time, and it's not going to happen overnight, especially with the draft rules the way they're different. Those guys in that room are awful smart and they're awful hardworking, and the future is going to be bright for the Cubs, I guarantee you.
And Soriano strikes out, 2 down. So for the second time in the inning, the Cubs cannot execute in terms of getting a runner over or getting a runner in.
And they're giving him that run there. All you have to do is put the bat on the ball, and looked like a changeup.
It's a high changeup. It really is a ball he should put in play. Soriano is really a notorious low ball hitter. Has a tendency to swing through those high pitches like that, but usually fastballs, not changeups.
So 2 down after the Soriano strikeout. And the batter is first baseman Jeff Baker. Baker generally playing only against left-handed starters. Brian LaHair gets the at-bats against righties. Got off to a sensational start, LaHair did. He's still putting up some good numbers. We'll talk about the first baseman of the future for the Cubs as time permits tonight. And a little weak ground ball to first. Big pop. Inning over. The Cubs get 1 back, 2-1 at the end of an inning in Chicago.
This is not my home. There, I said it. They don't have pictures of my kids. They don't have my yoga mat. And still, I feel at home. Could it be the flat screen TV? The not so mini fridge? The different free dinner almost every weeknight? Or maybe it's all of the above and all the rest. Am I home? Nope, but it almost feels that way. Homewood Suites by Hilton. Be at home.
The mission has failed. The asteroid is set to collide with Earth.
The world is ending. What will you do? Go to work?
I'm afraid the Armageddon package is extra, yes.
Tidy up?
See you next week, Mr. Dutch.
Okay. I regret my entire life.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye now.
Party?
It's his birthday today. Why didn't you tell me that? Happy birthday!
Or stock up?
You have a lot of guns and a lot of potato chips.
Seeking a friend for the end of the world.
What? No, what?
Rated R. Starts Friday.
It's more than laundry time. It's more than snack time. It's more than breakfast time or quiet time. It's lifetime. Kenmore is in the lives of over 100 million Americans, designed and inspired to keep life running the way it should. It's why we put so much into every appliance we make. We put more in, so you get more out. Kenmore.
An accident doesn't have to slow you down.
With better car replacement, available only with Liberty Mutual Auto Insurance. If your car is totaled, we give you the money for a car 1 model year newer. To learn more, visit us today. Responsibility. What's your policy?
Euro 2012. Everything is on the line in the Group C finale. Croatia takes on Spain for the top spot, and Italy needs a win against Ireland. The final matches from Group C, tomorrow at 2:30 on ESPN and ESPN2.
And a very happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. Some great pictures of some fathers and sons, fathers and daughters here at Wrigley Field today and tonight. I know we all want to take this opportunity to wish happy Father's Day to our dads. So to my dad, Arnie, back in Toronto, watching the game tonight. Dad, I love you and glad you're watching and can't wait to see you on Tuesday.
My dad, Oral Sr. in Vero Beach, Florida. Love you, Dad.
I got the best dad in the world.
Thanks a lot.
I'm telling you, I do.
At least
I just do.
Dad.
I just do.
Big league dad.
He's a good dad.
We all made out okay, huh?
He
Well
was
done, good.
Great initiatives for Major League Baseball, too. We talked about the breast cancer initiative to raise money towards a cure and for research on Mother's Day, and MLB gets involved in the same kind of thing towards a cure for prostate cancer and research to understand more about that disease. And that's why you see the blue wristbands, among other things, all kinds of things auctioned off to raise money. Special blue MLB Father's Day lineup cards also being used by each team. All kinds of things getting auctioned off to raise money to continue researching how to beat that disease.
It's amazing how willingly every player, because every player is so routine oriented, and it's amazing when you ask them to wear something for Mother's Day or Father's Day, they do it in such a hurry with no complaints because it's for a good cause. You never hear anybody complaining. They all do it.
Kelly Shopik leading off the second for the Red Sox. And a swing and a foul back, 2-2 on the Boston catcher tonight. Jared Saltalamacchia getting the night off. Saltalamacchia having a big year. 12 home runs, including a big 2-run homer yesterday. Shopik can get a hold of one and drive one a long ways.
You know what, Dan? You put their combination of their production together, and they're leading the league.
Mm-hmm.
And they might do it together, but still, they're getting tremendous production out of their catching position.
It's funny, the more you look at this team, when you just look at the surface, you say, boy, they're struggling. Ellsbury's hurt, and Crawford's hurt, and Bailey's hurt, and Melanson got sent down, although he's back. And now Beckett's on the DL, and Gonzalez isn't putting up, and on and on and on. But the deeper you dig, and you guys both talked about it, when you look at the Saltalamacchias and the Pasedniks and the Navas and the Padillas and the Millers, the deeper you dig, the better the picture looks for the Boston Red Sox.
Some guys have gotten opportunities, and they've made the most of it. And it's helped keep them afloat.
And if all goes well, Oral, within 3-4 weeks conceivably, Carl Crawford, Jacoby Ellsbury, Cody Ross sooner than that, Andrew Bailey maybe after the All-Star break.
And their best pitcher right now, in my opinion, is in AAA, in Daniel Bard.
And he's kind of between a rock and a hard place. They want to bring him back as a starter. They want to bring him back as a reliever. They really don't want to upset the chemistry they have going in the pen right now. It's been firing unbelievable. Last 54 games, and ERA a click over 2 in that bullpen.
I got to tell you, I would be willing to upset the chemistry to have Daniel Bard pitching in the 8th inning. I think he's going to be that good.
Leave Aceves in the 9th and put Bard
Daniel
in the 8th.
Bard is one of the better setup guys in all baseball.
That group down there has been outstanding over the last 6 or 8 weeks. Here's the 8th pitch of the at-bat, and it's the last one that Shopik will see. First strikeout of the night for Mahalam. And that'll bring up Ryan Kalish here at Wrigley. Kalish just called up. Ryan Sweeney put on the DL with a toe injury. So here's Kalish, who spent some time playing for Terry with the Red Sox 2 years ago. Did not play at all in the majors last year because of shoulder and neck trouble. But you are full of praise when it comes to Ryan Kalish. What do you like so much about this?
Everything. This kid is why you want to be a coach or a manager. I mean, when Theo called him up a couple years ago, he couldn't make a trade, and Theo came in the coach's room and he was very apologetic. He said, guys, I just couldn't, it wasn't right. He goes, well, we're going to call up this kid Ryan Kalish. And we all were like, yes, this kid plays the game the way it's supposed to be.
Just lights the room up when he goes in the locker room as far as the effort, the way he goes about his business. We all know what that's like, you know, as we play high school sports or college sports or anything you've done in athletics that requires a team, and you figure out who the leaders are, where the energy's coming from, and that exists at the big league level too. You put 25 guys in a room, you need that kind of guy.
He would come in early to the ballpark, and he was so open to learning about baseball and how to play the game right, and he just loves competing. And he's got a lot to learn. I mean, he missed a whole year, which is going to hurt his development, but he's a kid that you can win with.
Stays alive at 2-2. Let's go down to Buster for more.
Guys, Ryan Kalish got the call that he was going to the big leagues at 12:30 last night when he was in Buffalo. He got on a plane quickly this morning, arrived at the ballpark, as Terry said, early, 7 hours before the game. Bobby Valentine saw him and said, "Do you want to play tonight?" And he said, "Absolutely."
And Bobby V happy to put him in there. Kalish becoming the 13th different player to start in the outfield for the Red Sox this year. Now 24 different combinations, different threesomes have been out there, and it was supposed to be obviously Crawford getting the bulk of the time at left, and Ellsbury in center, and Sweeney and Ross, I guess, platooning was plan A in right field.
Well, again, this kid lost a year of development last year. When he's right, he's going to be their right fielder. He'll be their everyday right fielder. He just needs to stay healthy so he can stay on the field.
Strikes out swinging, 2 down. Two to 1 Red Sox, top of the second. Tricky time of night the way the sun comes in between the lower deck and the upper deck here at Wrigley. And Terry, you've managed here, you've played here. There's some tricky stuff.
You know what? The Cubs aren't idiots. Look who they put in the first base dugout.
I tell you, as a left-handed pitcher, it's a lot better. As a righty, I hated these games because it came right into your eyes. The lefties have their back to it. But if there were two right-handers going right now, that sun like that is what you see before you go to deliver the ball home.
So are there times as a first baseman, whether it's a pickoff throw or a throw from third, where you're hoping and praying?
You know what? As good a move as Franklin Morales has, he might pick off David Ortiz.
1-2 on the Boston pitcher.
I used to pull my hat way down on the right side, almost look a little awkward, you know, and you have to shade that one eye because it comes storming through there. Some really light popcorn or dust?
I don't know what we got. Outside, 2-2.
I gotta believe Franklin Morales hasn't had that bad in a few years.
Nope, I would say not.
Takes another one. The count is full.
You know, even if your pitcher makes an out, if you can have him see 5, 6, 7 pitches, that might cost Paul Maholm an inning. Nothing worse than your pitcher going up making it out on the first pitch.
The emergency hack, and the inning is over. Maholm strikes out the side here in Chicago.
You sprayed them. Thought they were dead. shoulda used Roundup, America's #1 weed killer. It kills weeds to the root, so they don't come back. Guaranteed. Weeds won't play dead. They'll stay dead. Roundup. No root, no weed, no problem.
If you subscribe to the crazy notion that the financial goals of a lifetime deserve more than a 10-minute chat.
If you have the nerve to believe your call is important to us, should actually be the truth.
If you believe your financial advisor should listen as much as he speaks.
Join the nearly 7 million investors who think like you do. FaceTime and Think Time make a difference.
Join us.
At Edward Jones, it's how we make sense of investing.
Hi, I bought Pepsi Next.
What's Pepsi Next?
It's the new cola from Pepsi. It's got real cola taste, but 60% less sugar.
Real cola taste, 60% less sugar.
I know.
It's unbelievable.
This is the most impressive thing I've ever experienced in my entire life.
Introducing Pepsi Next. Drink it to believe it.
The crossover. We have the technology to rebuild it. SkyActiv technology makes it better than it was before. With the best highway MPG of any SUV, even hybrids. The all-new Mazda CX-5 will be that crossover. Better, stronger, smarter. We build Mazdas. What do you drive?
Welcome back to ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, presented by Taco Bell. Part of the AL-NL Showdown, presented by State Farm. Dan Schulman, Terry Francona, Oral Hershiser, Buster Olney. Wrigley Field in Chicago, with the sun making its presence felt here on the north side this time of night, creeping in between the decks. And that's why David Ortiz is, you were talking about that, Earl. You'd have it down on the right side of your head, and Ortiz at first base, he's got to angle it off to the left side to try to keep the sun out of his eyes.
He looks like Fernando Rodney.
This is a unique place between the wind, the sun, the ivy, the bullpens in play down the lines, which you hardly ever see anymore.
And I hope they keep this ballpark.
There's Joe Mather, the center fielder, to take a strike. Well, there's some talk, and you were managing in Boston. Theo Epstein was the GM then when they went through a lot of renovations at Fenway Park, put in some new seats and upgraded some things here and there, and it sounds like they're at the beginning of that process here at Wrigley. And a place this old is wonderful, but it needs a coat of paint, a little bit more than that every now and again. But you can just never imagine the Cubs playing anywhere other than here.
I hope not in my lifetime. I hope they find a way like they did at Fenway to make this work even better so they can keep it.
Did you like playing here?
Yeah, you know what, the whole atmosphere. I mean, you know, the dugouts now, it's hard to see the game from the dugouts. They're down low and the field used to be real high. They've leveled the field off a little bit, but the atmosphere, the fans here, I mean, they're good fans. They certainly they want a winner, but they show up and they're enthusiastic. And I mean, this is days of Harry Carey. I mean, it was a fun place to be.
Obviously more day games than any other team in baseball.
All day games back then.
That's right. Mather's gone one down.
Yeah, the field used to have about a 6-foot crown to it because of the drainage, and then they dug it all up and they put a drainage system in, and when you round third when it was crowned, you'd run right into the Cubs dugout almost if it was wet. You slide. They leveled it off, and now you can see a lot better.
How many catchers do you see on pop-ups fall?
Oh, all the time,
because it was downhill.
The ground was falling off from under.
Oh yeah.
And we're not talking a long way back. I don't know when the renovation of the field was, maybe 10 years ago, maybe 12 years ago.
But it'd be hard to argue a call second base on Steele because you couldn't see the base.
See it. That's right. There's Wellington Castillo, the catcher. Terry, did you ever run into the wall? And people, you know, there's ivy out there, but first of all, it doesn't grow in until, you know, May, June. Did you ever run into the brick wall?
No, but see the Cubs bullpen? I slid into those bricks down there in 1984. And I blew my knee out the next day in Montreal. But those bricks right there next to that bench, those are real. And when you hit them, it hurts. Right there. I got part of my cartilage right there in that one brick.
You can't escape the brick here at Wrigley. There's a strike, 2-1 on Castillo. I'm sure you can repeat none of it, but I'm sure you guys both heard some of the most interesting things from fans anywhere in baseball right here in this
during batting practice?
Oh, yeah. Especially in the left field and right field bleachers when you're out there shagging and it's the day after you might have got a loss from the Cubs. Oh, it's a lot of fun.
Wrigley Field opened in 1914. It was known as Weigman Park then. The Cubs didn't move in until 1916. The old Chicago Whales, or Federals of the Federal League, were the tenant here the first couple of years. Castillo called out on a fastball for strike 3.
I tell you what, ever since he gave up the run and Bobby Valentine visited him on the mound, he is pitching a little bit more like a starter, mixing his changeup in. Strictly fastball curveball here. He starts off with the fastball early, but then, you know, he uses his curveball, which is a huge differential in speed. But the thing that really has helped him get out of the jam with the man on third, only give up the 1 run, is this little changeup he started mixing in on the outside part of the plate to these riders. Now he's got 3 pitches going for him. He's mowing them down.
And that pitch there is only the 5th ball that he has thrown tonight. So Bobby Valentine will love that if he's counting the strike zone, keeping the pitch count down to the best of his ability. 2 down, nobody on. 3 strikeouts already for Morales. And here's Luis Valbuena, who was responsible for all of the Cub offense last night in a 4-3 loss, with a 3-run opposite field home run off John Lester.
And I know when they called Valbuena up, it didn't make big news in Chicago. But this is a kid that can play all 3, second base, shortstop, and third, make all the plays, and help your ball club win. Maybe not as a starter, but he can play certain times. He can, in the National League, you can double switch with him. He's got really good instincts in the infield.
Two down, nobody on. 2-1 on Valbuena. Pitcher Mahalam due up next, should the inning continue. In the air, shallow right center. And McDonald there to make the catch and end the inning. 3 up and 3 down. We'll see Dustin Pedroia when we come back for the top of the third. Also, a Baseball Tonight update is on the way.
With its track-tested suspension and the tightest turning radius in its class, it makes a playground out of any obstacle course. The 2012 Lexus IS. It isn't real performance unless it's wielded with precision. See your Lexus dealer.
It was a shocking twist.
What is he doing here? The Big Show is fired by Mr. Laurinaitis.
That stunned the WWE Universe.
Oh no! Big Show just knocked out Cena!
Now, after joining forces with WWE executive John Laurinaitis, the Big Show collides with John Cena inside an unforgiving steel cage. WWE No Way Out, live this Sunday on DirecTV pay-per-view.
Why?
Because the porch needs some work.
Why?
Because plants need water to grow.
Why?
Because baseball's played in the summer. Oxygen and hydrogen. Gravity. Because that's just the shape of my head. Because monkeys don't get married. It's complicated. Because I forgot to get a receipt. I don't know.
Why?
Why not?
Why?
Why don't you go ask your dad?
Why?
When you drive a Sonata, people might think you know something they don't. The Sonata from Hyundai.
You're watching Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. The Red Sox lead the Cubs 2-1, headed to the top of the third at Wrigley Field. Steve Berthiaume and John Kruk with you from our Baseball Tonight studios. And Krucky, we had a D. Gordon walk-off for the Dodgers. They beat the White Sox today.
Well, Matt Kemp out. You know they're not going to let Ethier beat you. D. Gordon has to step it up, and he has been.
He wins at bottom 10. L.A. now with a 5-game lead. What about the Dodgers in the NL West?
Well, they have a lot of tools, and when Matt Kemp comes back, they become that much better than everyone else in that division because no one in that division can match him as far as talent goes. But, you know, they have to pitch, and that's the key. If Kershaw has to start getting on the ball, pitching like he's capable of, like he was a Cy Young winner, if he does, they're going to win that division.
Krucky and I will be back with you later in the game. Now back to Wrigley Field. Dan Shulman.
Fellas, thank you very much. Chris Capuano with a very nice performance for the Dodgers today, striking out 12 for the team that still has the best record in all of baseball, 42-25. Aerial shot of Wrigley Field here on the north side of Chicago. We go to the top of the third inning. The Red Sox leading the Cubs 2-1. Top of the order for Boston. Scott Podsednik makes the breaking ball high from Paul Maholm. Podsednik singled and scored in the first inning on a double by Dustin Pedroia, who was waiting in the on-deck circle. His 19th game with Boston. He's hitting .400. What happens when the Crawfords and the Ellsburys and the Rosses all come back, and they're all on different timetables right now?
Some roster issues.
And guys, you make decisions that you don't want to. That's what hurts, because you're going to lose guys that have really helped you. Because this guy, like Scott Podsednik, he's a veteran guy. Some team will pick him up if you put him on waivers, and you hate to lose guys like that, but you have no choice.
2-2. Crawford with a bad elbow. Bobby Valentine said before the game he feels it. He doesn't have pain, but still feeling a little bit when he throws. Ellsbury trying to come back from the shoulder injury. And an awkward looking swing there by Podsednik. Almost looked like he was getting himself in bunt for a base hit mode, but there were 2 strikes on him, and maybe that was the ultimate emergency hack right there.
That looked like he was getting himself ready to go back to the dugout swing.
Yeah, he's so full it makes. Oh, he is kind of running up and do a little slap.
Yeah.
He was going to slap it over there, try and sneak it by the mound.
I think Dale Swain was saying maybe he's out of the batter's box.
Yeah, maybe doesn't get you out. You're still in there.
It's another chance. It's a roller up the middle. Castro on the first in time.
And Dustin Pedroia's first at bat, he takes a swinger and it's a double, and he starts his swing out doing everything wrong. Shoulders not balanced, front leg is, and then when he gets to contact, it's perfect. He's the only guy. Somehow it goes from ugly to perfect, and he's the only one that can do it. When he's going bad, I wouldn't want to be the hitting instructor because I don't know what to tell him.
That's a long stride for a little guy, isn't it?
But he barrels up more balls. His hand-eye coordination has to be off the charts. And again, I've seen him get hot, and he could put a team on those little shoulders.
Liner into left field, a base hit. So he came into this game 6 for his last 45. He's got a double and a single in his first 2 at-bats tonight.
And look, you're going to see the swing again. He does everything wrong. And he hits that ball. And I guarantee he's down there at first base telling Alex Ochoa he should have hit a home run. He has an amazing ability to get the barrel of the bat on the ball so often.
Is there anybody you managed, coached, or played with that you can compare him to?
No. When he first came up to the big leagues and he wasn't hitting, Dave Magadan was beside himself because he didn't know how to help him. And Theo and his guys had assured us he would be good. They were right. He was better than that.
Outside.
I mean, look at this. This ball gets in on him a little bit, but he drops his hands, keeps it inside the ball, and gets that barrel to it. And ends up hitting it hard.
He crocodile armed that one. He really
yeah, he's got the
smallest
smallest arms in the league anyway. Yeah, the self-proclaimed laser show. He can be arrogant and humble in the same sentence. I don't know how he pulls it off, but
our audience doesn't know how close you are with him because you're getting really close to kind of really ripping on him. So this is all in fun, and you guys are good friends.
He's the best. Yeah, he's the best.
I just want to let the audience know. This is brotherly love.
2-0 the count with Pedroia at first on Youkilis, who takes a strike. And Youkilis's name has been all over the Boston press recently because there is a presumption that the Red Sox may want to move him to free up time. As we mentioned, they've got a logjam between third, first. Adrian Gonzalez has been playing a lot of right field, which is not his normal position. He's not in the lineup tonight. But Youkilis has a big contract, last year of the deal. Probably doesn't have as much value now, obviously, as he had a year or 2 or 3 ago. But another uncomfortable position where you've got more people than spots.
It's really interesting because when you're out talking to Boston fans and they talk about moving Kevin Youkilis, they go, they can't move him. He's the heart and soul of the team. He's one of the best players. And then if he gets hot, that would be the best thing for the Red Sox, because it would up his value. But then, you know, the waves it would cause if they let him go, because Boston fans absolutely love him.
But I think they're smart enough to know that Will Middlebrooks is the future.
Yep.
And they got to get his bat in there too. And Bobby's doing a lot of juggling right now, and it's hard. You got a lefty pitching tonight for Chicago, and Will Middlebrooks would fit real good in the middle of that order.
Well, they'll be glad to see the last of road games in interleague play, for one thing. That'll make it a little bit easier on them. Send Ortiz back to DH. Well, they'd love to get Adrian Gonzalez back to first base full time, get him out of the outfield.
Well, scheduled off day today, but he's done some wonderful things for them to move around and play in the outfield with his legs. And, you know, he's just not the body type to play right field, but he's a good enough baseball guy to know the reads and the angles to play out there.
Well, I mean, just think if he'd have said I couldn't go out there.
Oh.
I mean, think about the log jam then.
Bobby V has penciled Gonzalez into the outfield 17 times as a starter. I think more than anybody ever could have imagined under any set of circumstances. Youkilis has been bouncing back and forth between third and first. Let's get a little bit more on Kevin Youkilis right now. Down to Buster.
Guys, other teams have taken a look at him. The Dodgers, the Arizona Diamondbacks, the Pittsburgh Pirates among those. And in talking with general managers, they say that right now they look at Youkilis as being a guy who they don't want to pay a lot of money to, and they don't want to give up a top prospect for. And so right now they feel like that the Red Sox are not close in terms of what they're willing to give up to get him. Now, if they cut him, then you'd see a number of teams interested in him.
Because then a team could go out and get him for the prorated minimum. The Red Sox would have to assume the rest.
It's amazing how things change over a couple years. I mean, 2 years ago, Youkilis was a middle of the order, bona fide, you know, he's an all-star, had the reputation for grinding out bats as good as anybody in the league. And, you know, you put a few years and you get a couple injuries and things change.
Full count.
But he will never give an at-bat away, and if he's healthy, he can hit. And again, don't be surprised here if Pedroia runs. Sometimes I think they leave him on his own because he's such a good base runner. And he was going there.
Going to be extra careful with the left-hander Mahalam on the mound. Ortiz waiting on deck. He is going. 3-2, swung on and missed. Throw down, got him. Double play, inning over. To the bottom of the third, the Cubs coming up, trailing by a run.
Hydration where you least expect it. From your razor. Schick Hydro. Hydrating gel helps to reduce irritation. And now there's also Hydro Power Select with comfort control, so you can choose the vibration setting that feels best for you. Now you can customize our best shave for your skin. New Schick Hydro Power Select. Free your skin.
Euro 2012. Everything is on the line in the Group C finale. Croatia takes on Spain for the top spot, and Italy needs a win against Ireland. The final matches from Group C tomorrow at 2:30 on ESPN and ESPN2.
The Open Championship, July 19th through the 22nd on ESPN.
The traditions seem familiar. The never-ending curse. The relic of a ballpark. Obstructed views and tight seats. And then there's the flags. Some are used to the tradition. Others will never be.
From one historic franchise to another, Theo Epstein came to the great city of Chicago to take over the Cubs as their president of baseball operations. He still looks about as young as he did when he took that job in Boston. I know that job will age people.
He's got some gray hair in there.
He was the GM for 2 World Series championships in Boston, became the GM of the Red Sox in 2002. At the time was the youngest general manager in the majors. The Boston Red Sox snapping the drought in 2004. Theo Epstein resigned, and then about 5 weeks later came back to the Red Sox, another World Series. Who was that guy on the stage with him? In 2007, and they named the president of the Cubs this past October. And he's got a job ahead of him. And he's not running from that, and he's not portraying it as anything other than what it is. Oral, this is a big job. I mean, they've still got some bad contracts. Some of them are done. The farm system is not viewed as one of the strongest. This is not a team that figures to be a contender in a couple of months or maybe even next year. It's going to be a while.
It is going to be a while, and he's got a lot of work, and I'm sure it's not only just fixing the major league roster, it's the culture throughout the organization. You don't step into a place that hasn't won a world championship in a long, long time, 100 years, and not have more than problems at the big league level. So I'm thinking, you know, the man sitting next to us, Terry Francona here, he knows how smart he is, and he knows what he can do to build an organization.
You know, I think Theo sees the big picture really well, and he's not, you know, I think that's what was part of the problem in Boston, was that there were times when he wanted to step back and maybe take a year and rebuild, and you couldn't do that in Boston. And he always said, if you go get enough free agents, you're going to make some mistakes. He owned up to it, and he felt strongly about it. And I think here he's going to enjoy this challenge. This is a heck of a challenge, but he's going to enjoy it.
What's the pressure like? I mean, again, when Theo Epstein got to Boston and you started managing there as well, you won in your first year, so maybe a bit of an unusual situation, but the drought was 86 years. It's over 100 years here. How much more difficult does that make the job of making rational decisions as opposed to knee-jerk?
He won't do a knee-jerk. No, he's too smart for that. That's where he's a good caretaker of the organization. You know, as a manager, I think you want your roster complete every night. And he used to sit and tell me on opening day, relax. In a month from now, this will work, that'll work. And he was right. And I learned a lot about that stuff from him about take it easy. You know, you want your team, every manager wants the perfect roster every night. It doesn't work that way.
You know, the managers always think that, you know, the wins in April are just the same as the ones in September, and it feels so intense coming out of spring training. You want to get a good start.
Ground ball to short. And Johnson retired, 2 down, and now 7 in a row set down by Franklin Morales. Well, if they start rebuilding, maybe they start doing that by trading away some players. Ryan Dempster, everybody assumes, is going to be somewhere else. He is pitching tremendously well this year. He's a 10-5 guy, so he's got a no-trade clause, but it sounds like he will waive that to go to a contender. Will they deal Matt Garza? He's a guy who's had success in the American League East, so you know he can pitch pretty much anywhere. It seems unlikely they could move Soriano unless they eat a huge amount of money. Reed Johnson, whom we just saw, somebody who could be dealt, but he would not bring back the same level you would think as a guy like a Dempster or a Garza.
LaHair is kind of a late bloomer. Yep. Maybe you sell high to somebody who needs some offense, because he really doesn't have a track record of the production he's been given, been showing.
And for all the, you know, the talk of Boston being a big market, which it is, Theo believes in player development as much as anybody. And you watch, there'll be changes made in the minor leagues here with the Cubs, and they'll become stronger, and you'll see guys come up and help the major league team in the next couple of years.
They went after a lot of pitching in the amateur draft. They just went out and signed Jorge Soler, an outfielder from Cuba, to a 9-year deal worth $30 million. So they're trying to address things in the farm system at the major league level. But again, there are more than just a couple of leaks to plug here on this.
Did you get to be in the draft room at all during those times as manager where you saw the philosophy of the draft from a Theo regime?
I would walk in there just to, to peek in, not to say anything.
Were they looking for tools? Were they looking for the stats?
Both. They were very in-depth on everything they did. I mean, to get a guy like Dustin Pedroia, as a sandwich pick coming out of Arizona State, that's not only good scouting, but that body. Again, I love this kid, right? But that's not a first-round pick body.
No.
And look what he did. He's Rookie of the Year. He's MVP. You win with guys like that.
That's a gym rat that knows how to play baseball and got a lot of talent.
And guys like Kalish, I mean, they'll do the same thing here. Now, with the draft rules different, it makes it harder. With the slotting and the being penalized for things like that, that's going to hurt them a little bit because they were good at that stuff.
You have to stick to a total amount of bonus money for your draft picks, or you get fined, and eventually perhaps you can lose some picks. So the big market teams don't figure to be able to say to a kid who's maybe saying, I'm going to go to college, and then you draft him in the 12th round, even though he's a second-round talent, you pay him a lot of money, and you get him to turn pro. That's not going to be the kind of thing that a team can easily do anymore. But the city doesn't care about any of that stuff. They think you should walk on water. I mean, how's that? You get the job and they put you.
I'm sure he loves that.
That's all you got to do. Just walk on water. Walk across Lake Michigan, get a couple of world championships, and it's all good.
I can see him over there probably saying, turn that TV off.
Barney diving back in.
And there's the pickoff move we talked about.
It's hard to pick some names that'll be here in 2 years on this roster.
Well, the one that I think
Starlin Castro for sure.
There's a first baseman in AAA.
Yeah.
Rizzo. Yep. That will be Anthony Rizzo will be their first baseman.
Darwin Barney, they're leading off first, probably going to be on the roster for sure.
Yes, he knows how to play the game.
Rizzo's tearing it up at AAA. Went for the Red Sox system to the Padres in the Adrian Gonzalez deal, and then to the Cubs for pitcher Andrew Kashner. Well over 300, over 20 home runs already this season. And Dale Swaim said to us today, it's getting to that time. Whether it's a week or two, he's on the way.
And he can play first base. He's very good defensively. He's a good kid, and he's a really strong left-hand hitter, as his numbers show. He got called up last year, maybe a little too early, and got beat up. He'll be fine.
But we know they're going to have money to sign free agents. It'll be all the timing of when is the roster ready to inject the free agents. How long will the Cub fans allow them to wait? Because the Cub fans know they have money. Cub fans know that they can make moves.
They still draw pretty well, even through the bad times. And now, to be fair, there were a ton of Tiger fans here midweek, a ton of Red Sox fans here this weekend. But
well, this is a destination. Not only if your team is playing here do you want to come, but you want to come if you're just a baseball fan to see it, hang out for a nice long weekend in Chicago.
It is great.
I mean, you brought your son.
Oh, it's great. Yeah. Nice night. Happy Father's Day. Beautiful game. Beautiful night for a Sunday night baseball. All kinds of dads and kids in the house here tonight at Wrigley. 2-1. The Red Sox lead the Cubs bottom of the third. Dustin Pedroia with a big RBI double for the Red Sox in the first. Starlin Castro, the batter, now has an RBI triple in this game as he takes a strike and the count is full.
And I like this 3-2 count, 2 outs. Barney's going to be running, but they're holding him on because of Morales' good move. He can't get a running start. If Castro hits a ball in the gap, it's not automatic that he scores. I love this.
And I even like my outfielders to play half a step, 2 steps a little deeper, no doubles a little bit more here in this pitch. Make 2 hits, score that run.
There he goes, and a chopper center foul.
So often when the first baseman plays back, the runner at first gets that full head of steam going, and there's a mediocre ball in the gap, and they scored. They shouldn't.
And the other thing I watch, if I was going to throw a 3-2 breaking ball, if I'm Morales right here, I'm moving Youkilis a little closer to the third baseline. You want him over there, not allowing any doubles down that line. If you're going fastball away, he can stay in his normal position. If you're going breaking ball, where you know you're going to fool the hitter a little bit on a 3-2 count, get him out front, watch out for the double down the line. Pitch
count getting up there for Morales, making a spot start out of the pen as he It's a pop-up back of first. Pedroia back into the outfield, and the ball drops. Barney around third, heading home. Hey, safe.
And you can see Pedroia asking Darnell McDonald, did you call it? He was having trouble getting behind this ball, and he's searching right now.
You know, and you'd like to believe every player in a baseball does it, but they don't. But Darwin Barney is a guy who's not going to assume anything. He runs the bases hard.
You know, you watch the head move, but you never saw the stride break. So he's looking around for information and staying at full speed, and he makes it by a half a step with that full stride all the way around. I'll tell you what, that's another reason that Theo will probably have him on the roster here in another couple years. That young man at second, I don't know if they call that a hit or an error. They got a hit. That's 426 hits now at 22 and 85 days. A little mix-up in communication that got him that hit, but Darwin Barney and Starlin Castro could be in the middle of that infield as major rebuilding blocks for this Cub team.
So it is tied at 2. The crowd buzzing here, but Wrigley after that play. And a swing and a miss by Alfonso Soriano.
That's an official score that a lot of hitters are going to like.
Yeah.
Franklin Morales doesn't like it, but Castro will take it. Barney going all out right away from first and in there, and a head first slide. Got a face full of dirt for his trouble. Ground ball pulled down to third, and now the inning is over. A run on a couple of hits, and the Cubs have tied it here in the third.
With its track-tested suspension and the tightest turning radius in its class, it makes a playground out of any obstacle course. The 2012 Lexus IS. It isn't real performance unless it's wielded with precision. See your Lexus dealer.
Before the miraculous returns, before the inspirational resumes, before the NFL season even begins, comes the deal you won't want to miss.
Did he catch it? Yes, he did!
This season, get NFL Sunday Ticket at the lowest price in almost a decade.
Unbelievable!
Watch every game every Sunday for less, only on DirecTV. Call 1-800-GET-SPORTS or visit directv.com/NFL to order now.
Every day, millions of people choose to do the right thing. There's an insurance company that does that too. Liberty Mutual Insurance. Responsibility. What's your policy?
This summer, our greatest battle will be fought between the living and the dead. Rated R. Friday.
In transition, look at this. Acres of space. Moving it for count. Down it goes. Oh, that's fabulous football. And Wesley Sneijder doubles the Dutch delight.
Red Hot La Roja. Super Mario lurks, the stylish Azuri, and the spoilers have nothing to lose. Group C Elimination Day tomorrow.
And tomorrow a doubleheader, Croatia and Spain and Italy and Ireland. Here are the scenarios. Italy advances with a win, and they cannot have a tie between Croatia and Spain. Ireland, much to the dismay of our producer Tom Archer, has already been eliminated from advancing. Both games available on ESPN3 and Watch ESPN.
And Spain is defending not only the World Cup, but the Euro Cup championship, which is what we know you're defending. It's hard to do.
And Vicente Del Bosque, the Spain coach, he just signed a 2-year extension from all that success today.
Say that name again.
Del Bosque.
Nice job by you two. Nice job.
Vicente del Bosque.
I like my job at ESPN, and I intend to keep it.
David Ortiz playing first base tonight. Game of the National League Park, leading off the fourth for the Red Sox and encountering something he has encountered umpteen times before, the shift.
And again, if they were able to play this last time, he's got a ground out to second instead of an RBI single.
Just off the outside edge, 2-1 on Ortiz. The RBI back in the first inning is 42nd on the season.
Dale Swain was talking about it before the game, how important positioning of your infielders are, and he is so good at it, and he cares so much about it. He's so passionate about it.
He called it a weapon, doing a lot of studying on defensive positioning, and this was some years ago. The metrics and the research and the understanding of these things has come a long ways in the last 8 or 9 years, but it sounds like he was really into it back in the day.
Well, you give him a job.
High and deep, left center field, gone. No defense for that.
Poppy not only stayed on that ball from a lefty, hitting it to left center, a breaking ball. This is just a picture perfect swing for a left on left hitter. Stays close and drives it the opposite way, keeps him on it and through. But I'll tell you what, hit it right to a Red Sox fan. And you talked to Bobby Valentine, you know, he was up here in Terry's seat last year. And so we're pretty close with him. And he said through thick and thin, everything that the Red Sox have been through this year, David Ortiz has been the constant, not only with his ability and the power's return, but the clubhouse presence and with the communication with the players.
Terry, you talked about how well he's hitting lefties. This year now hitting .326 with 7 home runs in 95 at-bats against left-handed pitching.
You know, last year, you know, he had really taken a downturn against left-handers, and he had a little chip on his shoulder that he could do it. And you know what? He was right.
So the 9 home runs with the 2 strikes just shows you that he is really staying with it. There's the Red Sox fan. I'm surprised he.
Well, that guy needs to put a shirt on.
He might have had that shirt ripped trying to get that home run ball. If you're hitting home runs with 2 strikes, you're staying in there and watching the ball, letting it travel.
Aviles is gone. So David Ortiz getting it done, the home run off the lefty. Let's go back a couple of years as you watch this swing for the home run. A couple of years ago, he wasn't hitting them at all, and there was a big deal made of you sitting him down. Now, there's a big deal made about anything in Boston, but you took him out in one, maybe 2 key situations against lefties. What was that like for you and for a proud veteran like him?
It was tough. And you know what? Looking back, it may have been wrong. We had Mike Lowell sitting on the bench who, at that point in his career, could really hit left-handers. David was struggling so bad, but it hurt him. And when you have maybe your best player, sometimes I think, you know, you win the battle, but you lose the war. And we had to kind of fight our way through it a little bit to get through that.
Remember, as a young left-handed hitter for the Minnesota Twins, he was kind of pull conscious, so you could really get inside on him. And then he started to learn and develop as a left-handed hitter to use the opposite field. And then you guys got him with the Red Sox. He started to pepper the green monster and really was, you know, a dynamo with Manny Ramirez at that time. You could either one of those guys out. He's really come back to that swing.
When he uses left field, he's a much better hitter.
Nice play by a charging Valbuena to get McDonald 2 down. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, presented by Taco Bell, is brought to you by Hyundai. New thinking, new possibilities. And Schick Hydro Power Select. Free your skin. Beautiful night in Chicago with Oral Hershiser, Terry Francona, Buster Olney, and the Sunday night crew. I'm Dan Schulman. The Red Sox and the Cubs, a 3-2 lead for Boston as the sun sets. I mean, there was some kind of a storm here last night. They got the game, and then after that, it was raining and howling here in the city, affectionately known as the Windy City, but it has been absolutely beautiful here today. A run in this inning on the home run by Ortiz. One down in the inning. Excuse me, two down in the inning. The batter now, Kelly Shopping. Shopping called out on strikes his first time up. One of 5 strikeouts for Paul Maholm.
I love how they only have the second deck here in this ballpark. They don't have that big third deck that's way the heck up there.
The nosebleed seats?
They call it the friendly confines. It is.
Yeah. Seats about 40,000. They've expanded the capacity a little bit in recent years, same as they did at Fenway.
Does that include the seats across the street on the roofs? Does that include them?
I don't believe it does.
So there's definitely
I think
more
that's
seating.
some enterprising people.
Well, Cubs are making some money on that too. They get a little understanding with each other.
I think there was a negotiation about blocking the view, and then there was a little exchange of revenue.
Sure. You pay us a certain percentage. We won't build billboards. Okay. Win-win.
They're probably making more money on the seat revenue than they would the billboard revenue.
But it's kind of turned into a trendy thing sitting out there.
I still think we should do a game where I'm here and you two guys are out there.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Why don't we stay here and you go out there?
Let me get a little more experience before you leave me, big boy.
Dan's always got these ideas. I just don't like when he brings them on.
Terrified I'm going to have to send it back to Bristol.
As soon as he won Broadcaster of the Year, now he says them out loud.
You guys with the soccer promos, you're grooving.
That's an out, Dan.
Shopping is gone, but a run for the Red Sox. Big Papi drives one into the seats in left center, and Boston has a 3-2 lead over the Cubs.
The Open Championship, July 19th through the 22nd on ESPN.
If you can hold your nachos with one hand, you can be a hero with the other. Taco Bell's new beefy nacho burrito. It's the two-handed nachos you love in a one-handed burrito for only 99 cents.
Can I have your attention? Hi. I have 47 vacation days. That's insane. I've been saving them and earning them for what? To be a bridesmaid again. We come in day after day. That ends now. There are days. Let's take back our summer. Who's with me?
Yeah! All right. Huh?
They're your vacation days. Book them now at visitlasvegas.com.
Mischievous rain had an ominous plan, but safety was brought by the Michelin Man. Stop up to 31 feet shorter than a leading competitor with the new Michelin Defender tire, backed by a 90,000-mile warranty. Michelin, a better way forward.
The all-new 6 Series Grand Coupe. The first ever 6 Series with 4 doors. It's truly a sight to behold. We only make one thing, the ultimate driving machine.
Welcome back to Wrigley Field in Chicago. The Red Sox lead the Cubs 3-2. Time now for FaceTime presented by Edward Jones. I had a chance to speak with Bobby Valentine between innings. Bobby's spot start for Franklin Morales. Have you liked what you've seen so far?
Yeah, I love it. You know, he's throwing strikes. He's, using all of his pitches. His curveball's been a little sloppy, and he's given up some hits on it. But he's doing a heck of a job holding that 95 right now, too.
You got to be thrilled to see Dustin Pedroia with a couple of solid hits.
Yeah, really swinging the bat the way he can tonight. And he's been swinging that way. He just hasn't had a lot of luck lately. And tonight they're falling.
Thanks, Bob.
Okay, Dan.
Bobby Valentine, first-year manager of the Boston Red Sox. Dustin Pedroia, 2 for 2 with a double and a single. David Ortiz, 2 for 2 with a single and a home run. Franklin and Morales now pitching into the 4th inning. We will see a number of relievers out of the Boston pen. Morales again making the spot start for Josh Beckett, just put on the DL a couple of days ago with tendonitis in his shoulder. They're hoping it's not a severe thing, that 15 days will be good enough, and that he can rejoin the front end of that rotation along with John Lester, Clay Buchholz.
Well, with Morales being over 50 pitches, you'll see the Red Sox guys down there starting to get the blood moving, because he won't be long for this game if there is a few base runners.
And there's Andrew Miller getting the blood moving. When you're 6'7", it takes a little bit longer. Blood's got a little bit further to go. So the deepest he has pitched into a game since he became a reliever. His first 15 major league appearances were all starts. Everyone since in relief until tonight.
And this is a guy they had to shut down in spring training because he had a weak shoulder. They shut him down for about 3 weeks. So it's, I mean, looks like he's healthy, he's throwing hard.
His first year as a starter, 2007 with Colorado, his last 4 starts went through the World Series. He was 3-0 with a 1.23 ERA. He knows how to start.
Not in the World Series.
No. Through the year though.
With Colorado, and when the Red Sox beat him, there's another strikeout for Morales, number 5. Interleague play, the ALNL Showdown continues this week on ESPN and ESPN2. It'll be the Atlanta Braves taking on the New York Yankees tomorrow night on Monday Night Baseball. Then Wednesday Night Baseball on ESPN2. The Tigers host the Cardinals. Monday Night Baseball presented by USAA. Wednesday Night Baseball, both games at 7 Eastern. Both games available on ESPN3 and the Watch ESPN app. Some bad news for the Atlanta Braves. Brandon Beachy, elbow trouble. The major league leader in ERA on the DL. Joe Mather up, struck out his first time up. It seems you can't go a day without a player of note coming down with some kind of an injury, and this is obviously trouble for the Atlanta Braves, losing such a key guy. How about Matt Cain throwing a perfect game with 14 strikeouts against Houston this week? At the other end of the Giants spectrum, another loss. This one was up in Seattle for Tim Lincecum. He's 2-8. The Giants are 2-12. In his 14 starts this year, as mentioned, Beachy goes on the DL. That San Francisco situation, it's just great water cooler talk if you're a baseball fan, because the Giants are playing well. I mean, they're in range with the Dodgers. They're looking like a potential playoff team this year, as Mather is called out on strikes. But a guy who's won 2 Cy Youngs, Oral, is just not right now. But do they have no choice but to keep sending him out there?
Well, you want to send him out there if he's healthy, that's for sure. But if he's got any aches and pains, it's not a bad time to shut him down for about 15 days. Let him get a little stronger. But his ERA and the sharpness on his breaking ball and his fastball location has just not been good of late.
Bruce Bochy came out in today's paper and said he's going to pitch his way through it. We got his back. We've seen him do it before, and he'll do it again.
Giants lost today in Seattle 2-1 as the Mariners take 2 out of 3. Justin Smoke with a game-winning hit in the 9th inning for Seattle. So the Giants now 5 back of the Dodgers after the Dodgers beat the White Sox 2-1 in 10 innings. The Dodgers 1 in the 9th to tie, 1 in the 10th to win. They have been an amazing story this year.
They found ways to win without their best player, and it seems like it's somebody different every night.
Quickly 0-2 the count on Castillo. Morales potentially a strike away from striking out the side.
And he's the 3rd hitter next inning. It's going to be interesting to see second hitter if they can, you know, knowing that he's not going to go much further in this game anyway, if they let him hit.
I think that's what that conversation's about right now.
Yeah, I mean, again, he's given them everything they could have asked for. Six
strikeouts on the ninth, 3 2/3 for Morales. Gave up a run in the first, a run in the third. Really deserved a better fate in the third on a pop-up, not a routine play in this ballpark, but really a pop-up to shallow right that went off the heel of Pedroia's glove and was scored as a double. Got it. 7 strikeouts for Morales. He strikes out the side in the bottom of the fourth.
You're cheating hard will make you weak.
Pepsi Max? Really? Bet you're wondering how they got all that Pepsi taste into a 0-calorie cola.
Yeah. Sir, you have won Pepsi Max for life! Ah!
I'm back, and you're my first guest.
It's rich!
You're gonna be famous, kid.
Your favorite band is getting ready to play your favorite song. You know every note by heart. You're so close to the sound, and yet you're nowhere near a stage. That's the power of Bose QC15 headphones, designed with advanced Bose technologies that make your music come alive and keep out so much of the noise that just gets in the way. Don't just listen to your music, lose yourself in it with QC15 acoustic noise-canceling headphones, only from Bose.
Every communications provider is different, but CenturyLink is committed to being a different kind of communications company by continuing to help you do more and focus on the things that matter to you.
Yeah, link up and go now.
Sweet!
The solid thunk of the door on the Jetta.
Thanks, mister.
Another example of Volkswagen quality. That's the power of German engineering.
Right now, lease the 2012 Jetta for $159 a month.
Visit VWDealer.com today.
I will throw more complete games. I will make it hail in the bleachers. I will let beast mode off his leash. I will shatter records. Beast mode never sleeps. I will make my glove golden. I'll throw 107. I will lead the league in triples. Yeah, you will. I will take away center field. I will be Mr. Everything.
Beautiful night to be getting these aerial shots here in Chicago with the Red Sox leading the Cubs 3-2 as we go to the 5th inning. Tonight's aerial coverage is brought to you by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV. Back at Wrigley Field in Chicago, Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. Dan Schulman, Terry Francona, Oral Hershiser, Buster Olney, and the Red Sox and the Cubs, who met in the 1918 World Series. That 86-year drought, the World Series that preceded that drought, was when the Red Sox beat the Cubs in 1918. The Cubs won their 2 World Series championships prior to that, 1907, 1908. Ryan Kalish leads off the 5th for the Red Sox, takes a sweeping breaking ball outside for ball 1. It'll be Kalish, then the pitcher's spot. Morales due up second, then back to the top of the order for Pasednik. And that's still Morales out there in the on-deck circle right now.
With nobody throwing.
Yep.
So obviously he's told him he feels good enough, and they're going to leave him in there.
Chopper over the mound. Big hop for Castro. 1 down. Time now for more FaceTime, presented by Edward Jones. Buster Olney spoke with Dale Swain between innings.
Dale, Starlin Castro, 2 RBI tonight. What have you learned about him as a player now that you've managed him on a day-to-day basis?
Well, you know, especially over the last 6 weeks, managing him and seeing, the strides he's made at shortstop. It's hard to believe that there's been a better shortstop in baseball over the last 6 weeks. His throws, everything's been, tremendous. So he's a great kid. Sometimes he, does the little things you want back, but, he's a great kid to coach, and especially his bat, too. I mean, his bat plays in the big league, so now with that defense he's doing, it's been tremendous.
What have you seen in Paul Mulholland tonight?
Well, probably just made a couple of mistakes to one of the best hitters in baseball, Ortiz. So, other than that, he's been pretty sharp. His breaking ball hasn't been, like we wanted. Like I talked today earlier about his curveball, and he hasn't been able to get the ball, arm side down like he can.
Dale, thanks.
Dale Swain with the Buster Olney. Fastball outside, 1-2 on Morales, who stays. So Bobby V will give him the second at bat to send him back out there for a 5th inning. Feeling obviously Morales is pitching great, feeling he's strong enough, Oral, to go another inning.
He told the truth in his last long relief appearance. He said he wanted more. He just took him out. Now he can hit.
And he's got pretty good numbers in the majors. 7 for 28 hitting with Colorado. But a guy who a couple of teams, Buster only telling us earlier today, a couple of teams actually looked at him as an outfield prospect. He knows how to swing the bat a little bit.
Little hanging breaking ball right here. Comes out of his stance. That actually helps it when the ball's up that high. Gets you on top of it. Did a nice job driving this back where it came from, and teammates like it. Now the adventure begins down there at first.
A roller to second. There's 1 and 2. Nicely done by the Cubs. 4-6-3 double play to end the inning and send us to the bottom of the 5th.
Do you have any idea what you really are?
In Realty 3D and IMAX 3D.
And so the conversation turned until the sun went down, and many fantasies were there on that day. Keep feeling fascination.
Hanging out with Cal has its benefits. So does taking one-a-day meds.
Go to stayinthegame.com to enter for a chance to meet me and watch the 2013 MLB All-Star Game.
20 years with Corolla, I've never been more excited about an incoming season. Am I right, Coach?
Right.
Did you know the 2012 Corolla has an available Entune system so you can use Bing? Tell you what, let's call your pops, tell them you're thinking about Corolla.
Okay.
No, this is how we do it at Corolla, son.
Hello? Dad, I'm committing to Corolla.
Committing to Corolla! Yeah! All right, let's take this puppy for a little spin, all right, Madre Padre?
It's more than laundry time. It's more than snack time. It's more than breakfast time or quiet time. It's lifetime. Kenmore is in the lives of over 100 million Americans. Designed and inspired to keep life running the way it should. It's why we put so much into every appliance we make. We put more in, so you get more out. Kenmore.
Happy Father's Day to all the great dads out there as we bring you back to Wrigley Field in Chicago, where the Red Sox have a 3-2 lead over the Cubs as we go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. Help keep dad in the game. Join Major League Baseball in supporting prostate cancer research with the Home Run Challenge. Visit MLBcommunity.org or homerunchallenge.org to learn more. By the way, since its inception 16 years ago, this initiative has raised nearly $40 million for the Prostate Cancer Foundation. We have a change for the Red Sox as we go to the bottom of the 5th. Daniel Nava is into the game. He'll take over left field for Scott Posednik, who may have tweaked something on that double play ball to end the top of the 5th inning. Let's get a look at him coming out of the box. That's not full speed Posednik right there.
You know, we were looking at each other when he didn't beat out the double play. And then when you look at the replay, you can tell he felt it a step or two out of the box. He knew something was wrong. And that's the way he makes his living with those legs.
And as hot as he's been coming into that bat, hitting 400 since he's been activated by the Red Sox, it's a depressing injury for both the team and player.
Morales pitches into the bottom of the 5th. What a job he has done filling in for the injured Josh Beckett.
It'll be interesting to see how he does now that he was a base runner, had to slide in the second.
Strike taken by Luis Valbuena. By the way, we can tell you from the microphones that we have down at the field that we were able to hear Bobby Valentine say to the home plate umpire Brian O'Nora that it was Posednik's groin. Tweaked a groin on the way down to first, so he is out of the game. Last thing the Red Sox need is another injured outfielder. If there is good news, it's that Cody Ross, who is out injured, may be back with the team as early as Tuesday. And Ross certainly gave them a lift earlier this season when he was healthy. Ross coming back from a broken bone in his foot. Well, he's got nasty stuff for him.
Yeah, exceptional fastball. And then, you know, the breaking ball is good. It's not amazing, but it's really good because it's next to that fastball. And that changeup is coming along. I think they can go both ways with this guy. If they want to go and put him back in the pen, that's one thing, but he could be an effective starter if he can command the ball.
And he has been pounding the strike zone all night with all his pitches.
Bullpen is up. Right-hander Matt Albers begins to throw for the Red Sox.
And getting them to this point in the game, it doesn't upset the routine of your bullpen. They can get to the guys they want to and not get anybody overexposed.
Especially with that off day tomorrow. So even if they had to go with an extra body to get through this game for an extra 1 inning. Where it really kills you is you put the bullpen piece on the mound as a starter, and then he doesn't go well, and then the first piece out of the bullpen doesn't go well. Then it starts to spiral out of control. But this is well in order for the Red Sox right now.
The Red Sox at the moment a game under 500, 32-33, 8 games back of the New York Yankees in the American League East. The Yankees won again today. The Yankees have now won 9 in a row. They defeated Washington today 4-1, and they allowed only 6 runs in the 3-game series against the Nationals.
And fans in Boston, they not only know the Red Sox record, but they know the Yankees record. And they know how many games you're back of the Yankees. They may not know how many you're back at Tampa or Toronto, but they know what it is with the Yankees.
Up-to-date standings in the American League East. Elsewhere in that division, Baltimore won again today. They beat Atlanta 2-0. The Orioles have won 7 of 8. The Blue Jays defeated the Phillies today 6-2. They swept Philadelphia. And Tampa Bay shut out Miami today 3-0. Boy, tough sledding if you're in the American League East trying to gain on some teams, huh? Another strikeout for Morales, number 8. Well, we're talking American League, some of the stories from around the league, and they all originate in the East Division as the Yankees, as we mentioned, have won their 9th consecutive game. Evan Longoria begins a rehab assignment as he works his way closer towards rejoining the Rays, and the Blue Jays lost 3 starting pitchers to the disabled list in a span of 4 days. The most serious injury appears to belong to Kyle Drabeck, his right elbow. Drew Hutchison, Brandon Morrow also on the DL. A broken about roller foul off the bat of Holland.
You know, you lose one of your pitchers and you feel like, okay, we can go to AAA or we can do something to, but when you lose 3 in 4 days, I mean, that's like a body blow to your whole team.